Boom. Hi, everybody. How are you? Welcome. Thanks for coming to the show. You know, I was supposed to be doing today's show from Los Angeles. And I set out very early this morning to drive to Los Angeles for the very purpose of getting there in time to do the show from there and then go to Mason's tonight. And because it's the week after, the day after a long weekend, I was on the freeway for 4 hours, almost 5. And I got all of 45 miles. So I had to turn around and come back in time to do the show. And now I'm stuck here with you lovely folks. And you're stuck here with me in the regular studio. So hi and welcome and how are you? And I literally just like ran in the door, loaded the pieces that we're going to do today. I didn't even have time to do my hair. It's a mess. So anyways, welcome. Glad you guys could be here. Hopefully we will, over the course of the show, have a relatively normal show. Thursday's show will be off, though. Hold on. I'm going to, just because it's been working, if I fix it right before I go on the air. Thursday's show will be preempted, I guess, or will be a live video from a car because I'm going... fingers crossed, if it all, because of, COVID being what it is, I'm going to see Kiss in Irvine with my friend Steven Brewer. Some of you may not know my buddy Steven, but let's see if I have, do I have the video on here? I think I have it on the, in here anywhere? I think so. I don't know if I put it on which computer it's actually on is the issue. But there it is. That's the okay. It might not be. Hold on. There we go. Put it in here, and then is it in here? All right. Now I've got to do a search for it, and it's going to bother me. Hold on. All right, I'll do it this way. Fall awake. Whoops. Oh, wrong computer. Silly man. Impurify. In case you guys don't know, there we go. Let's try this real quick. I have besides my regular band, the lights are, the side lights are off as well. So it doesn't give me a good green screen cutout, which is a terrible, terrible thing. I have a side project called Impurify with my good friend Steven Brewer. And in this particular instance, wait, hold on. Whoops, hold on. People can't call me while I'm doing the show. That's not right. That's not happening. Let's see. I have to make sure that the audio is going through on this guy. This is what happens when I run right in and see. Hold on. Nope. Okay, so the audio isn't even coming out of there. So that's part of this. Should be going out of here, but there we go. Yeah, there we go. Nope. Built-in audio output, right? Back up here, back up here, back up here, back up there, back to there. Why is the audio stuck out of this thing? Oh, I know why. Because that computer, it got weird. Hold on. That's just so I don't get a copyright strike. It's playing audio on my own channel of my own songs. That's why I did that. There's the line out. The built-in line out is here. Turn that off and back on. See if I hear this. Yeah, there we go. So, there you go. This is... So that's one of my other projects, just so you know, just to give you a picture of what goes on in my head. Did have, Surprisingly enough, short hair for this guy. The chorus is pretty solid. I don't know how much of it you can hear. Frost. There you go. A little better. So there you go. Anyways, so my buddy Steven and I have a I was transferring the audio over, so I was being a little weird. It's the song's called Fall Awake. It's by Impurify. If you do a search for that, you can listen to it kind of high quality sound level. But the important thing is that on the guitar there, let's see if I can find a still. There he is. That's my buddy Stephen Brewer, and he and I are going to see Kiss. We also went and saw Metallica when they did their San Francisco gig, where they played, with an orchestra with the San Francisco Philharmonic. We went and saw that together. So we're musical tourists as well as buddies, he and I. And so so Thursday night they're kind of coming back. There were other shows that were, what is Masons? I'm a Freemason. I am a Freemason. There you go. Yeah. I have, I'm the senior deacon in my lodge, and I'm usually there the first Tuesday of every month, except in extraordinary circumstances like this, because of COVID and because of travel and because of all the other stuff. And so I was supposed to be there tonight, but obviously the fates were against me. So there you go. You're a free potter. That's good. All right. Well, at least we're working with clay. I just searched YouTube for Purify Fall Awake. Nothing came up. Well, it's on my actual channel. So if you see that right there, my older channel. So there you go. Here, I'll can I share the link? I can do that. Yeah, I'll share it on Twitter. Hold on, guys. There you go. I'll put that out. It's on my Twitter right now if you want to look at it. There you go. And then back to where we were. Okay, now we're back to normal. All right. So anyway, so that's for Thursday, just as a little heads up. And I think, technically speaking, why is this StreamX is going in there? There you go. Let's go over to here. Now, there's a lot to talk about today. Needless to say, it's a lunatic parade. Let's just be completely honest. We've moved past Biden's old and doddering and can't figure out what's going on, and he's made bad choices in Afghanistan, because a lot of the folks that the Republicans are talking to are for us getting out of Afghanistan, and they didn't really give a shit that it was uncomfortable or difficult or caused deaths or was violent, because they expected it to be, and they had a relatively realistic view of it, which is why they wanted out earlier, because it's dangerous and stupid for us to be there. And then, so since that doesn't resonate well, like, wow, this guy, even in his doddering elderly state, can manage to pull off something Trump promised he would do and never did, right? So now they're moving to, well, Biden screwed this up on purpose. His goal is to destroy our tactical advantage by having a base in Afghanistan and bring over 100,000 Afghans, terrorists, so that he can help with the next 9/11. It's just goofy. And every single person talking on it thinks it's a major conspiracy. Everything is a conspiracy to destroy I'll give you a good start. This is Giuliani and Steve Bannon, and they're going to give us an update on the fact that, according to this, the Taliban could strike within 6 months. And this was really Biden's idea all along. Let's be honest. He wanted this to happen. It's not that he's It's not that he's old and he can't make decisions. That's the old argument. The new argument is that he's a mastermind. We're back to Joe Biden criminal mastermind because doddering old Joe, Sleepy Joe, doesn't work. Not if you're trying to sell this level of panic. You can't panic people. They're going, wow, Sleepy Joe, huh? Sleepy Joe managed to get us out of Afghanistan. Maybe our presidents should take more naps. Maybe that would be snorting unknown substances and only sleeping 4 hours a night isn't healthy, and often will make you make bad decisions. I mean, just saying, if there was a president recently who lived like that, probably not good. So there we go. And now I want to see if the audio on this is any good. We will check in just 1 second.
I want to bring in Rudy Giuliani now. Rudy, I know you got a lot of thoughts on NATO, but talk to me first of what Posobiec just mentioned about they're going to probably announce their new government and have a ceremony for the new terrorist superstate with their allies to control the Central Asian landmass, probably on 9/11. How's that set with you, America's mayor?
Well, first of all, he is no longer America's mayor. He hasn't been America's mayor for a long time. Technically speaking, right now, Mayor Pete Buttigieg, who is now our transportation secretary, is America's mayor right now. He's a small town mayor. He's gay. He's a new parent. He's got a longtime partner. Like, in terms of 2021 America's mayor, it's more than likely the happily married gay man with two twins that he is going to raise healthfully versus old pedophile who tried to grope a girl he thought was 15 years old and whip his dick out in front of her in a hotel room. Like, as far as America's mayor goes, if we get to choose, I would like to bring that up.
Very, very bad. Of course, it's a terrible thing that Biden brought about. From the very beginning in April, when he said he was going to close it down on September 11, I objected to it because I could see.
Yeah, you could see that. Why would you shut it down? There's so much money to be made, and it's not like after you left politics after the 2016 race that you didn't go into the security business. Who makes money in that business? Yeah,
Wanted to make it a political circus, and I mean that's disgusting. He picked September 11 so that he could say, "Oh, the war is over." He doesn't realize that almost all of the people who lost loved ones on September 11, particularly the firefighters and police officers, they're very frightened about the idea that the Taliban, who was there at the time, is going to be back in charge. Al-Qaeda has, in about 2 weeks, doubled in size. New ones are coming.
Yeah, they've gone from 500 to 1,000 guys from when we did think they existed when they didn't, and to when they didn't. By the way, in case you were wondering, the conditions on the ground that would have made May 1st the exit date for Donald Trump was that never again would Afghanistan be a safe place for Al-Qaeda to go. No, there would be zero Al-Qaeda fighters in Afghanistan. If you can't guarantee us that there aren't zero in all of Afghanistan, and I guess you have to go door to door every 3 weeks, then we're gonna stay. We gotta stay. Sorry, we have to stay in Afghanistan until we get definitive proof, a census perhaps, that there are zero members of Al Qaeda, future or past. Never mind the fact that Trump let 5,000 Taliban out of jail and released their current deputy minister from prison in Pakistan to negotiate the deal for us to get out. But the conditions on the ground that Trump set, because that was the difference, conditions based. There were conditions. Biden didn't have any conditions. He just set a date, let's go. Trump had conditions. And the main condition was no Al-Qaeda in the country ever, or we're not leaving. So we're never leaving.
The woodwork, ISIS-K, the Haqqani network, which is actually more powerful than Taliban. The place is like a place.
Well, apparently not.
For terrorists. And now we have absolutely.
Yeah, it is a playground for terrorists. The Taliban were flying their own dude around trying to hang a flag. They're using the helicopters. Like, I know they know how to take one off. We never saw it land.
No control over it. Our intelligence is horrible. I mean, this once again demonstrates our intelligence is almost always wrong. If our intelligence tells us one thing, we should probably do the other.
All right, that's leadership. And by the way, for the record, I mean, in all fairness to Rudy Giuliani, his quote unquote intelligence has never told him anything. He any intelligent thoughts he might have, he does the opposite. Like occasionally, I don't know, spitballing here, Rudy, but follow me on this one. Let's say you're a grown man alone in a hotel room with a 15-year-old, and who turns out to obviously to be older and kind of a Chris Hansen To Catch a Predator kind of way. But as far as you know, she's a teenager. She's told you so. She's done a whole interview with you. And your intelligence, I mean, your morals would tell you not to do a lot of stuff too. But I mean, we're talking about Rudy Giuliani. Your intelligence might tell you, don't take your dick out in front of a 15-year-old girl. It's not smart, especially considering there are cameras all around and you were just being filmed and, you know, honeypots being what they are, Rudy. You've been to Ukraine. Who's Moisha? We all need to know. Your intelligence might tell you this could be a trap just so someone could film me taking my dick out in front of a 15-year-old and put it in the new Borat movie. That, you know, that part of your intelligence. And of course, if it did say that to Rudy Giuliani, he's just told us he would do the opposite.
Oh, I mean, so if someone tells us, oh, they really aren't that dangerous, what is that based on? It's based on the same faulty intelligence that told us that it was going to be really hard.
The same faulty intelligence that told us that they were that dangerous and we needed to invade Afghanistan and Iraq? You mean the WMD stuff?
Tried to overthrow the Afghan government. And finally, everyone that I know that seriously involved in this says there's no way that this isn't a great danger to us. I mean,
sorry, why do you know people who are seriously involved in this? How many Taliban do you know, Rudy? How many members of ISIS-K do you employ?
People are symbolic. They want to get back at us, and I wouldn't be surprised if they're not ready for a strike within 6 months, given the fact that they now have all of our weapons.
Yeah, they have all of our weapons. Yeah, it'll take them about 6 months, Rudy, to get here via helicopter. In about 6 months, one of the prop planes that they have that, of course, had a thermite grenade thrown into it and a bunch of screws and bolts missing. But, I mean, nothing you couldn't, a good Taliban airplane mechanic couldn't fix. In 6 months, they're going to have internet, and they're all going to take flying lessons online and figure out how to fly a prop plane under the radar all the way across the Atlantic Ocean. Or they could fly into the Chinese area near where the Uyghurs are kept and do something awful there. That's all. I mean, it's closer, but I mean, honestly.
Well,
whoa. Slow down for a second. When you say strike, you mean...
We did this yesterday. Steve Bannon needs you to say whatever you just said 3 different ways so we can make 3 different clips. I need a 1-sentence version, I need a 30-second clip, and I need a 3-minute clip, because if we're going to put it on Facebook, it only monetizes after the first minute. Rudy, you know this. Or it could also be that Rudy talks in such circles that no one really knows what the fuck he's talking about.
Strike regionally? You mean strike inside of Afghanistan? You mean strike regionally against Tajikistan? Or are you saying a strike in Europe, or in the United States?
Well, let's take it a step at a time. They're capable now of striking American interests in Europe. The real question is,
American interests in Europe? What do you mean? They're going to fly? They're going to attack Germany, but only our base?
To another one in the continental United States. From what I can tell, which is, from afar.
Very little.
And just getting bits and pieces. They're not ready.
Yeah. He's just telling us from afar and just getting bits and pieces. But don't worry, that won't stop him from trying to warn you that Al-Qaeda has just seized a half-functional helicopter and will use it to fly it into the Twin Towers. Not the Twin Towers, of course, and we don't have those in New York anymore. But a pair of small apartment buildings in Burbank.
Hold it. Hold. Hang on for a second. Whoa. Slow down. Slow down. What do you mean that?
Yeah, Rudy, you're talking too fast. We need to get. Is this real? The former mayor of New York City, whose brilliant idea after the first bombing of the Twin Towers was to move the emergency management office into the Twin Towers before 9/11, knowing they were a target. You're telling me that genius mind has maybe been watching clips of chunks of headlines of bits of news reports, and in his mind has concocted to slow down, Rudy. Dude, tap the brakes. Not, Steve Bannon's brain does not work in the Tasmanian devil of chess that you have going on in your head. Ease up.
What do you know that we don't that says they could strike?
What does Rudy know that we don't? That you can pretend to have a laptop you don't for years, and other people will bullshit on your behalf. You can get disbarred and face legal action and for a client that you threw yourself under the bus for repeatedly and still never get paid. Well, I suppose. Well, he doesn't know don't take your dick out in a hotel room when it's just you alone with a 15-year-old girl. I think he doesn't technically know that.
In Europe right now.
Well, the fact that they've been able to do it at different times over the last 3 or 4 years. I mean, before they even took over, the Taliban was capable of doing something outside of the United States. They could do.
Yes, they were capable of doing something outside of the United States, largely inside Afghanistan. Does Rudy know that Afghanistan is still outside the United States? We have not made it the 51st state, no matter how much Steve Bannon and Ben Shapiro and that crowd want it.
In conjunction with Iran. Iran is certainly capable of it. God, they almost killed me twice in Europe.
Did they? What'd they do? Make you choose the chicken instead of the fish? What was that? Was the third hooker with herpes their idea?
But you're saying the Haqqani network or Al Qaeda or ISIS or the other people.
Yeah, what's the difference? I mean, yeah, they're at war with each other. Yeah, they'll spend a lot of time killing each other and probably be way more angry with each other than they could ever be at us for years, especially if we're out of the region and we're not participating in this. But yeah.
Witch's brew of the terrorist superstate, not Taliban, quad Taliban. But I mean, because it's all one, right? They say it's all.
Of course, against us, they're all one. And in fact, except for ISIS-K, they have all been allies. Haqqani is suspected of being the real power behind the Taliban, and ISIS.
Well, technically speaking, in the last, I guess, 18 months, the real power behind the Taliban has been Donald John Trump, since he's the one that broke 5,000 of their leaders out of prison and their deputy prime minister out of Pakistani jail and had him negotiate the deal. So, I mean, if there's a real power broker, there's a real star maker, it's Donald Trump.
K is the one outline.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, just throw out there, Taliban has been announcing all throughout this morning who their new cabinet members are going to be for the new government. They're already starting to roll this out. You just hit the nail on the head. Sirajuddin Haqqani is going to be the new interior minister of the interim government of the Islamic era of Afghanistan, a literal terrorist that the FBI has a $5 million bounty. Well, I found out where he is. Can I get a piece of that? Maybe a finder's fee?
Yeah, knock yourself out. They know some pilots. Pack your shit. Go get him. You know where he's going to be. Land on the ground. There's some right-wing Congress people that'll get you a flight right in there. I mean, your seat will be taken on the way out, but that's okay. You won't need it.
The FBI, hook it up.
That's the whole thing. and look at Steve Bannon, pleased with himself that he's discovered, oddly enough, right in front of these other three guys, that he's allergic to shellfish, apparently. Because there's no way that gin by itself can do that to a human being's face. All right. So now that's not the only. Where is it? Hold on. Yes, that's not the only Steve Bannon we have today. Apparently, Satanists make an alarming admission about their child sacrifice through abortion. This is because the Satanists have filed paperwork. The Church of Satan is using their religious status to file stuff on behalf of like pro-choice women's groups and this stuff like that, mainly as trolls. But let's see. Maybe I don't know. Maybe, he's ready to out Trump as a baby eater. Who can say at this point? I have to, sorry, 1 second. Yeah, it might be time for him to admit that Trump eats babies, and it's why he looks so good after all these years. Same with Steve Bannon. He's also a baby eater. And you don't get to keep those kind of good looks at his age without some special sauce. I'm just saying. So, all right, here we go. And
one of the guys I want to bring in here, he's got a couple of big stories today, is Gateway Pundit. I don't think any platform out there services the information needs of the deplorables better than Jim and Joe Hoft over at Gateway Pundit.
Yes, I would say that pretty much everybody who reads Gateway Pundit on the regular that likes it is, of course, deplorable. I guess is the argument. Also, nice to know that that Steve Bannon's on Getter.
So I know I've got you here for the Satanist story, which is actually very scary.
Which is appropriate considering what he looks like. He doesn't look at all like a doctor in a horror series.
Right, when you talk about the heartbeat bill and what's happening down in Texas, now the Justice Department has also said, hey, we're going to start bringing federal charges against you guys. But Jim...
Satanists admit they are making child sacrifice through abortion an official ritual by the Satanic Temple. As the Gateway Pundit has previously reported, Satanists have supported abortion rights and Planned Parenthood for years. Oh, God.
To bring in and ask your analysis...
You mean it's their right they believe it's their religious right to have abortions, and therefore... It's a little different because they'd still do it at a clinic. Why would they, if Satanists wanted to make child sacrifice part of their rituals, obviously they would have to turn their churches into clinics, and therefore...
of MSNBC's analysis of the ProPublica piece, which was an analysis of exactly what we're trying to accomplish here in the war room with the most active audience in all media.
I disagree, Steve. Quite frankly, my show is growing leaps and bounds over yours. I'm getting a lot more engagement, even from trolls, than your show is. Even on the regular, you're getting like 1,106 rumbles. I'm hitting those kind of chat room numbers by myself, buddy. And I don't even have like the Heritage Foundation and other right-wing groups and Trump's America First PAC or whatever it is footing the bill for it, man. I got to call bullshit on that one. I mean, I call bullshit on everything you say, but I think I take special exception.
The world.
By the way, don't forget to like and subscribe and share the show. I'm Hal Sparks. Welcome to Hal Sparks Megaworldwide. Hello. How are you?
Jim Hoft.
Well, Steve, the secret's out, and that is that the MAGA movement wants to take over the Republican Party. We're tired of taking a back seat. We're tired of being pushed to the back of the room. We're tired of being...
He almost made a bus reference there and then headed himself off at the pass. We're tired of being put at the back of the bus. Oh, yeah, right. Hal Sparks' House of Satan. We did start off the show today with heavy metal. I'm just saying.
Or laughed at, or snickered at.
Why would anybody, with those glasses and that shirt combo and your little floral arrangement and the 2 plugs and the printer, and the obviously lacquered desk that you got off of Craigslist, why, Jim, why would anyone snicker? Those glasses totally fit your face, man. They don't look at all like parody glasses I would wear in Nerd Halen.
By these elitists who have let us down year after year after year.
But enough about Donald John Trump.
Whether you like Marjorie Taylor Greene or not, she's
Not. Can I officially be put in the not category? Not. Thanks.
For the vast majority of Trump voters. And she's not alone today. And I think as we see what the left has done with their party, that is completely anti-American, as we see in Afghanistan with their policies there, dangerous, Marxist, and ruinous for this country. We need more
dangerous, Marxist, and ruinous. Well, I suppose. I mean, I don't know why those are three separate things. Do you even MAGA, bro?
In the movement, we need them in leadership positions.
He looks like the old dude in Up. He looks like the dinner theater version of Up. You know what I mean? Like a local theater group decided they were going to do that. Hold on one second. I've got to shrink something down and then bring this over here. Go with the little thing. There we go. Yeah, this will work. Doink. Did this work in here? Let me see. Frank?
Maybe his new name should be Telefonzo. Uh-huh. They were so hung-go.
There we go.
They were so hung-go.
They were so hung-go.
They were so hung-go. Yes.
All right. So hung-go. Mm-hmm. It's delicious, by the way, if you've never had so hung-go. It's a soup. But yeah, there we go. We now have an audio drop of Hungo. So hold on, I have to, yeah, and this one.
They were so Hungo. Yes.
All right, so yeah. I think this will, if I do it like this.
Hungo.
There you go. That's it. Okay, fixed it. We're not giving 5 eggs yet. We're not. There's a lot to do today, and just because this guy looks like a like Rob Riddle character that he does when he's doing a remake of Only Murders in the Building with the entire cast of Anchorman.
This is all about.
Yeah, he does look like Steve Martin's Roger Stone.
And it's about time.
This is, by the way, this is how I think it was Joy Reid later brought on some experts talking about President Obama. Obama started as a community organizer. The way that the far left,
he helped organize groups within the community. You know, like a grassroots effort kind of a thing. I don't know, boat parades are kind of a community thing, and I don't know, somebody might pay to organize something like that under the illusion that they're actually a naturally occurring organic thing.
Over the Democratic Party, people say there's no longer your father's Democratic Party kind of union, blue collar, is because of the community organizers.
Yes, because nothing's more. I don't think anything is more different or contradictory to community organizing than unionization. If you go back to mid 60s, the late 50s Reagan, he's going to tell you that unions and community organizers are the same people.
This joke early on, and they've taken over the Democratic Party. This is MAGA and the deplorables and America First essentially taking over the Republican Party. And you don't
essentially, I mean, not really. There's like 9 of them. And obviously they couldn't get 17 Republicans signing onto the infrastructure bill. Not so much.
Donor. The power of it, and all of these things, whether it's being an election official, whether it's being on your school board, or whether
you want to manipulate children or be alone in a room with them like Rudy does and take your penis out, or if you want to dress like some sort of weird gynecologist in a what not to do cartoon that the more you know appears over his head, followed by the Star Wars scream. Ah!
A precinct committeeman. All of these are
demand 5 eggs. Not yet.
Free. It just requires your time and your effort and your commitment. You don't have to be a donor. I think in a couple of states there are some fees, but they're de minimis. I think $25, $50, but you don't have to give money to anybody. What you have to do is just
do not. Well, I mean, you have to give it to Trump. Come on, DonaldJTrump.com. Sign up. And if you're a maggot at all, if you're a Trumper, if you believe in America first, why aren't you pouring money into it every goddamn month? What are you thinking? How dare you say that, Steve Bannon? Absolutely not. You must give money directly to him. As a matter of fact, don't give money to the Republican Party just so you can give it to Trump. He knows best who to spend it on, not the elitist establishment Republicans. Don't give them your money. Give your money to someone who knows how best to spend it on his own rent and utilities. Trump.
A commitment. It's like when you go to Gateway Pundit, come here. You don't have to give any money. You can go to Gateway Pundit for free. You can come here for free. It's not, this is a...
Yes. I mean, you have to buy some My Pillow shit, I think, legally.
Your commitment about being a force multiplier. And that's why they're so freaked out. ProPublica is a leftist investigative apparatus, but they're top-notch people. It's some of the best investigative reporters in the world. They noticed this back in March when we started having Dan Schultz on, and they tracked it the entire time. And they did, I think they contacted something like the 71 precincts or something, counties that we'd had people in.
You're boring him already. He doesn't know who you're talking about, Steve. You've lost me. You've lost him.
Contact, I think, 41. And Jim, as running a news site, that's a lot of work to contact people and to interview them. And they're freaked.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it? Hal, this guy looks like your cartoon face with blonde hair. Oh, yeah? Let's try to do... Huh?
And overwhelmingly, they got a response from a GOP people. Said, we didn't know where these guys were coming from, but all of a sudden they're showing up. We're going to have Steve Stern and folks from Florida and other people on later in the week and every day to try to get...
Steve, this was supposed to be about Satan. I am bored. How do you bring up Satan, have a dude who looks like he has 6 kids in his crawl space on next to you who looks like a before picture in every soap commercial in the 20s? How do you have that on screen and mention Satan, and I'm already bored?
And accounts, and you guys know who you are out there in this, and I want everybody in the live chat to start sharing your stories. This is real empowerment.
Yeah, fill the chat with your personal bullshit. It's a great idea. Yeah, everybody get into his chat with a big, long paragraph. Something about how you thought, herpes was incurable, but thanks to this doctor in Nigeria, and here's his WhatsApp number. All you Facebook scam posters that are always hitting my shit, he just rang the dinner bell. Go climb on into their chat rooms.
This is real power. The guy ProPublica just said, hey, the way American democracy...
PillPublica. PillPublica it's like ProPublica, but if you smell almonds or burnt toast when you say it.
Works. And the reason that you don't have third parties is that you got all these nuts and bolts at the state level, and it goes all the way down to the precinct level about how elections are actually wrong.
Oh, you mean stolen? Try and steal them that way, because the perception is, if you tell people the Democrats stole stuff enough, then eventually you can claim that we're just stealing it back. This is the lesson they came away from the language is violence stuff on the left that they always decry. They always say that, that people on the left call language violence, so it gives them an excuse to attack people physically for things they have said. And they would point that out that is bad. And what he's trying to do is basically do that with elections. Just they stole the election, even though they didn't. The Democrats stole the election from us. So if we steal it back, we're really just... We're the righteous ones. It's a righteous theft. We're the OJ. They've got our memorabilia.
And if we'd had people embedded in these apparatuses before, regardless of the weakness of Roethlisberger and Ducey and all these bought and paid for establishment country club Republicans, it wouldn't have mattered.
Dude, I got news for you. The dream of most Republicans is to be bought and paid for country club people. That is, you basically just described the upward mobility ladder of Republicans. He's talking about the governor of Arizona and the Secretary of State of Georgia. But the problem, I don't know that he's selling what he thinks he's selling.
We controlled the apparatus where it actually hits on the deck plates. That's the lesson.
The deck plates, of democracy. Jesus, ask Grabistan.
This will never happen again. First off, we're going to decertify these elections going across the states. You watch this.
I'm watching. It's not going to happen. It isn't. It is not. Calling it not going to happen. Not getting decertified. Not at all. And if they ever manage to, they'll accidentally decertify Republicans who've been elected. They're only going to attack red states, the red states that have just elected Republicans, because they'll only have the apparatus within that state to do it that way. Not even close. Yeah, good luck. Have fun. Swing for the fences.
Start coming out. A major decertification movement's going to start, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. However,
you already are.
In the future, it's not listen to any happy talk of the RNC and give me more money and change these laws.
No, listen to Trump's happy talk and give him more money.
Going to be controlling the apparatus. And that's what this call to arms is of empowerment. Jim Hoff, your analysis about the ability of MAGA and the America First and
it's MAGA. Make America great again.
Actually take over the basic mechanism, the apparatus of the Republican Party, and then also
yes, but only if it entails attaching lots of balloons to the top of your house.
Into the actual election apparatus throughout.
I'm disappointed. This video was literally Steve Bannon. Fuck is wrong with you? Satanists make alarming admission about their child sacrifice through abortion. Please get to it. We're 5 minutes in. You're wasting my goddamn time. I know Satan is eternal, but my time is not.
Well, Steve, you've been leading this. It hasn't been a secret. It's out there because you've been speaking about this for months now. And so this really...
Yeah, if you weren't preaching about this, how would the choir even know what they were singing about?
Back to you and the work that you've done. You're the tip of the spear here. And
he's a little dull for that. The tip of the spear would be a little sharper, if you know what I'm saying. He's more like the tip of the plunger.
I think as we sit back and we watch what's happened in Afghanistan, your last guest talking about how we gave them $83 billion worth of arms. They're doing videos now in our uniforms. We have
I'm sorry, they're in our uniforms? You mean because they're wearing desert camo that they got from the Afghan soldiers' lockers?
Is partnering with the Democrat Party, going after Texas abortion laws. We have them spending like, you can't even say drunken sailors anymore. They're spinning us into oblivion. The country will never recover from what the Democrats are doing.
Okay, finally, we're going back to the Satanic Temple. He brought it up again. They threw it up on screen. But he breezed right by it. You can't breeze right by Satan and the Democratic Party are working hand in tail, point in tail, glove in hand, smell the glove. I don't know. Spinal tap.
Time for Republicans, everyone in the MAGA movement to stand up and say enough, because we won't have a country if these people continue to do what they're doing to our country today. And they're afraid of you, Steve, and they're afraid of this movement because...
No, we're really not. We're afraid of standing next to Steve in an elevator for fear of getting a skin condition that is hard to shake. No one is scared of Steve Bannon. I mean, maybe his dermatologist. Like, honestly, I think when he shows up, they turn the sign over closed back in 20 minutes. And if he's like, I got 25 minutes, back at scribble.
You're not paying anyone. These aren't paid activists like Barack Obama was. These are grassroots activists that are out there and they want to save their country. They've seen enough.
Oh, so Obama wasn't a community organizer then? Okay. But if he wasn't a community organizer, then why would you? So he was just a good promoter. He was a business. So he was a businessman. So he was a successful businessman who turned the smaller version of his business into a larger version of his business. Went from, obviously AstroTurf community organizer to president of the United States. So he's incredibly functional. I see. Whereas Steve is the real grassroots, which is why he pays people to have the boat parades and then pretends they're organic.
Americans don't want to leave people stranded somewhere. They don't want to have babies die on the operating table and say that's okay.
Yeah, I agree. No, I don't know anybody that says they want babies to die on the operating table and say it's okay.
The heart of America is still conservative, and I think America.
Well, conservative Satanists, clearly.
Finally starting to wake up, and we saw that this weekend with all of the football games where we heard the chant, and you know what I'm talking about Joe Biden.
By the way, go to precinctstrategy.com. As Joy Reid said, this is all Dan Schultz's. He's been doing the laboring work. We just kind of gave a platform to it and made sure people are aware of it. And the science are unbelievable. Go to precinctstrategy.com.
I'm not going to, no. churchofsatan.org or something, but what precinct strategies? Are you trying to bore me to death? Is the greatest trick the devil ever played was playing hide and seek on precinctstrategies.com.
Need you to sign up, become engaged. I've got to go back to the great Jim Hoft.
Wait a minute. This is a dating service? You're going to get engaged? Is this an arranged marriage site? Is Rudy Giuliani in charge of this, Steve?
Pundit. Jim, sometimes when I go on Gateway, the stories are so over the top. I think this has got to be, Jim is like Andrew every now and again. He's pulling our leg. And then I go in there and say, no, this is actually true. You can't make this stuff up.
Well, yes, you can. You guys know I have a chip on my shoulder about the whole, you can't make this up. I can make up anything. Anything. Just because you can doesn't mean you should or you will. You can't make this stuff up. Gateway Pundit does it all the time. It is a bait and switch site.
At the Satanist down in Texas. We just had, by the way, Garland, who's threatening. You're going to see that this week as we get into the canvassing part.
Dude, how do you bring up Satan again and then go straight into the boring shit? Do you know nothing about marketing? Of
these full forensic audits, you're going to see the Justice Department has raised its head. Okay, those threats about arresting and bringing criminal charges against the canvas are not ridiculous. Garland and these guys.
No, yeah, you cannot go and harass people door to door. It's voter intimidation and it's against the law.
Smart. Don't think they're dumb. They're very crafty and smart. That letter, and they just sent today, right before broadcast, they threatened federal involvement.
Yes, I think I'm so disappointed by the lack of Satan in this Satan clip that I was promised. Hold on, I'm going to sneeze. 1 second. Tickled my nose. Yeah. I just watched myself sneeze on the playback. And never mind. I forgot where I was because I sneezed. Hold on. Where was
in Texas. Okay, federal involvement in Texas to make sure that the heartbeat bill can't be implemented. But Jim, you got something deeper. The Satanists are involved here, right? Tell us what they're doing.
Yeah, tell us about the Satanists. Oh yeah, because I've been so disappointed that 666 it'd be a good time to pledge $6.66 on Super Chat if you would like. I'd appreciate that.
Texas to gang up on the pro-life people that are in the back of the heartbeat bill.
Well, it's not just the Satan.
Oh, hold on. It's not just the Satanists. Of course, it's not just the Satanists. Hold on. And I think, hold on. There we go. I have to reset that. There you go.
But we have Democrats cheering them now. We have Liberal Salon writing an article saying that thank goodness the Satanists are challenging this bill. They're our last hope for abortions in Texas. How sick is that? I put up a post earlier today where we followed the connections between the Democrat Party, Planned Parenthood, and these Satanists, and they've been walking lockstep for years now.
Yeah, the Church of Satan is largely a trolling organization meant to push back on religious overreach. And that's why oh my God, they're like this or whatever. Never mind the fact that the death penalty, it's not very pro-life, almost wholly a Republican strategy. Just throwing that out there.
Pushing abortions, unlimited abortions.
Thanks, Georgina.
And that's today what's happening in Texas. The left is hoping that the Satanists can.
They are hoping it. It is. It's an opening that we're hoping for.
We
call it the hopening. It's the opposite of the awakening that the Q people want.
Bust this new legislation by saying that their abortions are actually a religious ritual. And they actually describe it. We put up Jack Posovic's tweet where the Satanists describe what the abortion is for these women. And it's really sick stuff. And I think most of your viewers, most Americans would be infuriated if they looked at this.
Or amused at the obvious trolling that is going on, if you're a grown-up.
I want to, by the way, we've got about a minute here. Can you I want to keep.
Can we go 100% devil stuff on this? Because, I mean, as a true crime fan and, somebody who's watched the Son of Sam documentary that says that he wasn't alone, and there's all sorts of, like, Satan-worshiping group that's all behind this and linked to other murders. I'm fascinated by this stuff, and I feel really let down. We've got a minute left in this clip about Satan and the Democratic Party. Can we talk about local community outreach in the Republican boat parade?
Or can you describe for a second what they're saying? Because this is the death cult.
This is the death cult. Yes. Can you describe what they're saying? But loosen your pants first. That is a fascinating hairdo. I don't know what is going on there.
The death cult, right? And now
did he have a hat on, and it didn't occur to him that he was going to be on TV, or does he have a dent in his head?
Democrats actually embracing this, which is so sick about it. To talk about how the Satanists describe.
Yeah, I've heard some Democrats wear skulls and stuff like that. It's gross.
How important this is to their beliefs, their spiritual beliefs.
When you say it's a death cult, Steve, they're taking it now to Afghanistan. They're leaving Americans walking away without any emotion, saying this is just the way things are going to be. It's really sick. But in this surgical abortion...
Sorry. So anybody who gets stuck, a refugee that's anywhere, on the other side of the American-Mexico border, the people that, women that are sexually assaulted there or turned into drug mules by the cartels and the like because of the Remain in Mexico policy, that doesn't concern you? That kind of total dismissal of that human life, which is right there. That's not concerning to you? That doesn't find its way into your... No? All right.
The satanic cult says that they tell women to take a deep breath. Make yourself comfortable. When you're ready, say the third tenet and the fifth tenet of Satanism, and then undergo the surgery. And then after...
What are they, though? I don't even know the second and the fourth, so why would I know the third and the fifth? Yeah, they're Satanists. They're satanic. It's a group of people who worship tanning beds, in theory.
The surgery is completed and any anesthetic is worn off, to return to your reflection and recite your personal affirmation. It is some really demonic.
What if your personal affirmation is, I want to be a parent, and hopefully this child that would have been born still, or that's heart was outside of its body and would have only lived a momentary tortured existence outside the womb and suffered to death, doesn't have to do that, and hopefully one day I'll get pregnant again and be able to have a healthy child. What if that was... I'm just floating this as a possible affirmation. Because obviously, if you don't convert people or make Satanists, you're going to run out of them. I think the Catholics learned that a long time ago.
Sick stuff. And this is what they're...
Well, I don't know. If the third and the fifth tenets are, blow bubbles like you mean it, and the fifth tenet, of course, is try to watch your salt intake. I don't know that it's going to be sick stuff. I'm going to need more information.
In Texas, this is the Democrats' last hope. The Satanists there coming in to save abortion in this state.
Jim, I'm asking.
Well, no, not save abortion, save the choice. Because if you force abortions, then that's part of the system, and they have nothing to rebel against. So, Satan only actually can thrive where there are options. So if you eliminate abortion entirely, like you guys want to do it, then it's then it's a field day for Satan just to own the entire space, because it's I guess it's happiest amongst hypocrisy. So since you guys don't give a shit about, like, obviously a gun is an abortion machine, a gun shop is an abortion provider. You feel that your life is in danger and you are financially not capable of handling being robbed, you can kill someone with your little 6-shooter abortion machine. And so, I mean, obviously there's a lot of parallels there.
Over for a second, if you could. We'll take a short commercial break and return with the great Jim Hoft.
Yeah, not great, but also bad time to take a ad break, Steve, because he just said you guys are doing this for free. And we're all very disappointed, I can tell you. All right, so where do we go next? Oh, yes. Mark Levine, silly man. Mark Levine has American Marxism as his new book. He had the anti-freedom of speech, or unfreedom of speech. What the fuck was his name? That's right. What? Wasn't that the name of his book? Unfreedom of speech? Now I gotta look it up. Shit. Because it was one of the... the only reason it's hard... Oh, Unfreedom of the Press. That's what it was. Oh, God. Who wrote this? Vladimir Putin life coach. By the best-selling author of The Beautiful Poetry of Donald Trump. That's hilarious. That's kind of funny. But this was Mark Levine's book, Unfreedom of the Press. Why don't you just make it indoctrination and then change the color of the word nation in... This is like Make America Great Again, isn't it? Shit. Kids, this is a hammer and a sickle. If you want to be a farmer or a blacksmith, you pick one, okay? You're going to have a real hard time with weeds if you use a hammer. You're going to have a hell of a time making a sword if you just use a sickle. It's not helpful. So the kids are being indoctrinated into believing in Marxism, I guess, is the big fear. And this couldn't possibly be another ad for his book, could it? Oh, and it's an ad? Really?
From taco spots
The irony.
to big box. And you're...
You guys, I'm not doing free ads for Discover on my site. Are you out of your mind? Silly. Here we go.
When you're a teacher, you have an obligation.
Yes. Any adult around children has an obligation. For example, not to try and take their dick out around a 15-year-old, which I'm sure you will bring up the next time you talk to Rudy Giuliani when you guys share head powdering tips.
You have an obligation to be honest, to have intellectual integrity, and not to abuse.
I don't know about, you don't have to be honest. Because we asked our teachers some really fucked up questions in high school. I don't think it would have been, I think they should keep their answers to themselves.
The children and your authority in the classroom to advance your political agenda. I've even heard people say, at least teach both sides. Don't teach any side. Teach American history, teach our founding documents, teach people how to read and write, teach them literature, teach them...
Yeah, leave the mind manipulation to assholes like Mark Levine, who will write books like this, sell them to people who already believe that they know what it's in it because they watch his show all the time and will never read the fucking thing.
Become, motivated, interested, smart young men and women who can make their...
That's right. In schools, they should teach only, I recommend Tony Robbins's Time of Your Life. Never a time too early where you could teach kids to think about retirement.
Decisions. And that's what you want out of a public school system. Not teaching...
Is it actually what you want out of a public school system is for it to not exist?
sides.
Not me, him. That's what he wants out of a public school system.
American history is American history, and there's plenty of it to teach, and the vast majority of it is very good. That's all we ask.
Is that, yeah, just teach the vast majority of the good stuff.
Well, in California, I want to thank Project Veritas, which is...
Oh, this is going to be the Antifa teacher, dude? Is that what this one's about? What's this one called? Hold on, we'll look at it. Parents teach their children responsibility. Public school teachers help them master successful skills, reading, writing, literature, math. What if a teacher transforms the classroom into a communist indoctrination camp? And how would you know about it? Watch as Mark presents an explosive video from Project Veritas exposing one instructor's insidious goals, 180 days to transform your child into a Marxist revolutionary. Eek!
Fantastic organization that could also use your support.
I'm sorry. I'd love to, but I've already signed up on DonaldJTrump.com, and I've given them. They take something out every month, and it's true. I just don't have anything left. I'm sorry.
Put out a video of a California high school teacher who admits communist indoctrination of the students, pushing Antifa. This is something that American Marxism deals with and tries to address and encourage.
What luck, then, that you've got this video to sell.
People all over the country to get into Chapter 7 and to do something about this.
Chapter 7? What are we, Donald Trump? It's Chapter 13, right? Good point.
We are going to get to the issues in Afghanistan. I'm not leaving that behind for a second. But I also want to address this.
Yeah, please, put a pin in that.
As these matters come up. So take a look at this. Go.
Go, Mr. Producer.
180 days to turn them into revolutionaries.
Here's 180 days.
I have 180 days to turn them into revolutionaries. Marxist revolutionaries? I hope he said Marxist, did he not?
Turn students into revolutionaries. This is a teacher.
Well, what is he? The video audio is hot? I beg your pardon. Okay, sorry. Oh, sometimes it try to do that. Maybe this is better.
Tenure. Protected. In a public school.
Tenure? That dude doesn't have tenure. He's not old enough to actually be teaching for 10 years.
In Sacramento, California. You pay his salary out there. You pay his medical care. You pay his pension. Absolutely unbelievable.
Well, no, his union dues actually do a lot of that stuff.
Trust me, this guy's not alone. He represents a significant population. Go ahead.
Well, then show me a video with dozens of people talking like him as opposed to finding one random asshole. By the way, do you think Mark Levine wants me to go through the videos put out by the people who stormed the Capitol on the 6th and all the jobs they have?
The Sacramento organization that is under the banner of Antifa is very loosely organized, right? When there is right-wing rallies and stuff, then we'll create an opposition to that. Yeah.
Beautiful. Where would he go to connect to some of these organizations?
I post count.
Yeah, I'm not. I'm gonna need the whole thing, Mark. You can't cut sentences together. I have no doubt this dude's a dick. He kind of reeks of it. But you're slicing up his sentences to make it look like his part of Antifa and all the shit he does, or his belief in teaching kids to be revolutionaries or understand that he thinks the system needs to be upended, that those are somehow directly overlaid and that it's proof. What's, in this circumstance, I'm not buying it, but you're going to need to put more than 2 sentences together in these clips and not just stare at them like someone just showed you the bill.
And then
look at every crossfade. God damn, dude. Get a sentence out.
I do it for extra credit, so they get points for doing it. And so that encourages them to do it. And I've had students show up for protests, community events, tabling, food distribution.
Food distribution? What kind of commie bullshit is this? They're volunteering? What, with the homeless or some shit?
All sorts of things.
All sorts of things. Abortions, hockey. Terrible.
They take pictures, they write up a reflection, that's their...
When they go to Antifa events or to pass out food to the homeless, which is in parentheses an Antifa event, they take pictures, write up a reflection. That's their extra credit. In which class? He's a Gabriel Pike public high school teacher in Durham High School. All right. In Durham. Okay. What's their valedictorian like that? Hello, in Durham. In Durham.
Like I have an Antifa flag on my wall, and a student complained about that, and he said it made him feel uncomfortable. Well, this is meant to make fascists feel uncomfortable, so if you feel uncomfortable, I don't really know what to tell you. Like maybe you shouldn't be aligning with the values that this is antithetical to. So, the Cultural Revolution in the '60s was fixing the problem that came.
Wait a minute. So the Cultural Revolution in the '60s was fixing the problem that came after the economic one? In the Cultural Revolution in the 60s? Are we now into what he teaches in class? Black and Brown for Unity, BLM, and Exican X, 2020, 1492 to 2020?
After the economic one. It ultimately
There's a Mao poster on his wall, and yeah, I can't tell what the poster is. You got a 45 Nazi thing right there, the green thing. See that? That's the 45 done as a Nazi symbol. The Chinese Revolution failed. There were a lot of excesses.
A lot of excesses. People were definitely shot in the streets that probably shouldn't have been.
Yeah, probably. I would say, of the people shot in the streets, very few of them had it coming.
Incredibly ugly behavior come out of this city, and you can see a couple of people.
Pro-Antifa school teacher in California admits indoctrination of students. I'm gonna go with this. Looks like a Project Veritas hit piece where they cut sentences together to make it look like he's got some sort of big conspiracy and that everybody's in it with him, and that he's not a fill-in teacher that was there part of the time that put this shit up and then got called on it, and then he got fired.
Yeah, that might be demonstrating that.
I have 180 days to turn them into revolutionaries.
How do you do that? How do you scare the out of it?
So they're replaying they hypercut it first, and now they're doing an even bigger hypercut. And is Mark still awake? Mark, are you Mark? Mark, are you awake? Hello. Mark, wake up, Mark. Boink, boink.
People were definitely shot in the streets that probably shouldn't have been.
Yeah, probably.
You said in our phone call, it's like I have 180 days, right?
Yeah. I have 180 days to turn them into revolutionaries.
And that's the question.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them are indifferent. I think they're distracted by the gadgets, video games. How do you do that? How do you scare the out of them?
Meet Gabriel Geit. He's a public school.
Scare the fuck out of them. Just what? Just you wear a rubber mask and you hide in their desk and pop out? Or do you tell them about like hunger and income inequality and stuff like that? And that's his idea of scaring the fuck out of them, right?
You're paid for by taxpayer dollars at Intercom High School in Sacramento, California.
Excuse me, it's pronounced in Durham.
Geit, who teaches advanced placement government classes, is not shy about his involvement in Antifa's local...
He teaches advanced placement government classes. Introduction to Neo-Marxism.
He even has an Antifa flag and a poster of Mao Zedong in his classroom.
Okay. Which he teaches about these things, I would presume, in the class. I mean, I know a lot of people who don't use every letter of the alphabet in every sentence they speak, but they have all the letters of the alphabet on the wall. Even the big one, elemental P, which is, a large, chunky thing.
It's like my wife and I have been political organizers.
There you go. political organizers. He's been organizing since he was 13. You think that number's an accident? Huh?
Organized since I was 13.
He does have a picture of Mousy Dung. That's right. It's a teeny little picture. You need a magnifying glass to even see it.
And I've been in
a lot of different organizations. I've been on the front lines, and I've taken a step back. This is his Twitter page. That there's a parallel between cops shooting black people and the Palestinians or whatever. I mean, this dude is like central casting for a Project Veritas video.
ton of different organizations, and I've been on the front lines, and I've taken a step back, and gone back and forth, and my wife is in the same way.
Yeah, in between growing alfalfa in Portland and trying to go back and forth, and I mean running our Etsy store, and trying to pick an outfit for Burning Man every year. I mean, it's a lot.
Antifa or chapter?
Yes, yeah. I'm the Sacramento organization that is under the banner of Antifa is very loosely organized.
By the way,
yeah, it's just him and his wife. It's very loosely organized because we don't believe in hierarchical organizations, and so it makes it really hard. Nobody wants to be the leader of our leaderless organization, and my wife and I can't quite figure it out.
It has been my belief, and I've mentioned it here during the riots last summer, that I think public school teachers, I think professors, and I think college students, particularly who are at home because they weren't attending college classes due to the virus.
Yes, idle hands are Mousy Dung's workforce.
Were heavily involved in the riots taking place in the summer, particularly on the Antifa side, but also the Black Lives Matter side.
Well, I largely in Portland. There's a couple of breakouts in there, or whatever, but there was a little bit of conflict between some of the Antifa crowd and the BLM folks who didn't want it to be violent. That was one of the issues that they had. So a little bit of a.
These teachers' unions and the tenured professors are the mark.
He's a high school teacher. He's not tenured. He's not old enough to be tenured if he was. He teaches AP government classes. And I guarantee he barely teaches those things. I guarantee he is in rotation as a substitute.
Or the Marxist organizations that are pushing their agendas. The information is available.
Yeah, I mean, they have to be. I mean, for God's sake. Otherwise, how would I sell my book if I couldn't find individuals to demonize? Hold on. Let me see. Let's see. How many high school teachers are there in the U.S.? I think it's a good question. That's many. How many high schools? How many schools? Okay, so there's 24,000 high school teachers. So we got maybe 100,000, 120,000, give or take. How teachers can get tenure after 4 years in the same district. At high school, though, at Podirk or wherever it is. Let's see. Fast fact shows K through 12 school enrollment student studies. How many schools are in? So it's 26,407 secondary schools, and then another 10,000 private. Let's say there's, 6 per. We'll talk about 120 to 160,000 teachers. We know of at least 3 people that Mark Levine knows personally who have been accused of either showing their dicks to teenagers or attempting to have sex with them. So, insofar as the odds bank, 160,000 to 1 with this dude with the hand tattoos who teaches AP government courses, but most of the time teaches substitute gym. Yeah.
The information's in American Marxism. There's simply no question about this. Go.
We have no official member list, right?
Yeah, there's no. Could you provide us with one though? We are Project Veritas. We'd like to reach out to somebody else, right? He's looking right at the phone. Do you think this is the moment when he realizes he's being recorded? Doesn't it look like he's looking straight into the Anyways, yeah, we got a secret organization who, oh shit, that's not a pen.
So that, yeah, when there's like right-wing rallies and stuff, then we'll create an opposition to that. Yeah. So and Sacramento, as a city itself, is incredibly diverse, but we're surrounded by a bunch of right-wing rednecks. And then,
yeah, why didn't you let him finish that thought? You mean Devin Nunes's district?
the other really big organization in our area that, if you're looking to get involved, is NorCal Resist.
It's not North Cal, it's NorCal Resist, isn't it? Does he say North?
NorCal Resist does direct outreach for like undocumented folks. They help them with like material support as well as legal aid and support with the help of the National Lawyers Guild. So they work.
Yeah, so they're just shuffling them right in here. All these 9-year-old MS-13 kids with the, like 3 teardrops.
Tandem with each other. So that's why I do like political efficacy events, because I want to get them out in the community. I want to get them familiar with organizations that are doing work, what type of work they're doing, how they can be involved, where their passion is, and what they can contribute. Because it's like every single one of us can do something. I'm not.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, in the coming cultural revolution, some of us, we're going to need good whittlers.
Asking you to all be on the front lines, but I am asking you to be involved. And it is so much more than just sharing a tweet or posting on Instagram.
Yeah, dude. I mean, honestly.
He's eager to get his students actively participating at radical, activist political events. But he takes it one step further by motivating them through extra credit in exchange for their attendance.
So for you fit, like, so let's say my son is pretty...
Yeah.
He just did. That do 17. Who want to get plugged in though to actually doing stuff in the community, to activism. Where would he go to connect to some of these organizations? Like people that are interested in their.
Obviously, the Church of Satan. He would be an abortion spotter. He would stand there with notes and read off the 3rd and 5th tenets. Obviously, I mean, if you're going to get in on the ground floor, and he's 17, so that's perfect for him. He can learn the
something.
Yeah, he could go to like with his dad to an anti-mask event at a school board meeting. Maybe strike another girl on campus. Not like his dad would. That's an option as well.
Calendar every week.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So for the organizations that you mentioned, so they that's dope.
And then so like and I do it for extra credit, so they get points for doing it. Like, and so that encourages them to do it. It's like, because I can't just like, hey, here's some things going. They'll never go, right? And I've had like students show up for like protests, community events, table.
Right. This is the tabling, which is, if you don't know, it's like planking, but it requires 4 other kids to play the legs.
Food distribution, all sorts of things. So I since I work with PSL, and PSL has connections with a bunch of other organizations, and also like Sacramento Peace Action.
Oh my God, Sacramento Peace Action. That sounds like that's worse than the Satanists.
Very old organization that posts a calendar on their website every month of all the events that are going on, and I just put them on
like old people would do.
Board, let them know where they are. When they go, they take pictures, they write up a reflection. That's their extra credit.
So, sorry, they get extra credit for working with Sacramento Peace Action?
Ladies and gentlemen,
they are teaching these children. This guy with these neck tattoos is teaching kids to pass out food to homeless people and work with a group that will somehow lead children into a situation where they can
900,000 of you or so who have a copy of American Marxism, and this was not.
Well, 500,000 copies bought by the Heritage Foundation and handed out in goodie bags, but sure.
Attention. If you crack open the book.
Yeah, I have no interest, but thanks. If you make an audio book, I might listen to it though.
And if you look at 2 chapters in particular, chapter
the 3rd one and the 5th one, I noticed you built this entire book around the the Satanic Bible. It's kind of like a 1-to-1. You can kind of open one up and read it directly across. It's very smart.
In chapter 3, what you're hearing, you will also read about in the extensive nature of this propaganda and indoctrination.
Hate America, Inc.
This is going on in high school. It's going on before high school.
Yeah, especially, you got a bunch of dudes with neck tattoos that are in Antifa teaching 3-year-olds how to make a BLM fist.
But it is sort of reached a plateau in colleges and universities.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can't plateau in elementary school, and it's kind of all downhill from there.
These Marxist professors, they don't hide it. They have seminars.
He's not a professor, he's a teacher. It's an AP high school class. Calm yourself.
They meet yearly, or more often than that. They talk about the different techniques for indoctrination, community organizing, violent.
Yeah, some start with just the tip.
Protest, overwhelming systems, giving extra credit or better grades for those who get involved. They talk about how...
Yeah, who go and pass out food to homeless people and write a paper on it.
It's not enough to keep these issues in the classroom, that in fact you need to take them to the streets, get extra credit for going into the streets.
Well, no, actually you don't. You get extra credit if you take pictures, write up your thing about your experience and your feelings. He's not just giving extra credit for just going, bro. He's just not doing it. I mean, I don't know if you watched the same video I did, but it's not just, I mean, obviously you have to go out and bring cans of soup, you know, sorry.
People coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup.
Like if you you got to write a paper called Bags of Soup, you know, and explain, you know, how it's
Soup for my family.
You know what I mean? You bring soup for your family and you write a soup for your family paper.
So they are in fact raising, to the extent they can, a generation of
anti-vaxxers. Oh no, that's a different group. Sorry, my bad. I was confused. You were saying revolutionaries who will storm the Capitol and attempt to hang the vice president. No,
as revolutionaries, and
I see revolutionaries, like people who would, like, I don't know, build a gallows on the Capitol grounds, like that.
You saw that last summer, as I said, with the riots and so forth. When the virus,
so forth. You know, the riots, also just the marching. I mean, it's the same thing, really.
Keeping people supposedly at home. This is a big deal. This needs to be fought. These unions need to be fought. Guys like him need to have their
unions. Oh, teachers' unions. Just, I see.
Fired. They're abusing their authority. You can see where he could have a lot of influence on students in the classroom. Mao Zedong killed...
Yeah, they might end up with neck tattoos.
Millions of people. Tens of millions of people.
Right.
Antifa is a violent domestic terrorist organization.
Well, they're not very well organized, though. They're a loosely knit violent terrorist disorganization. They're more of a disorganization, I think, really, absolutely. I'm just saying, Antifa, clean your room. Pitiful.
A Marxist organization, and most of these other organizations too. The National Lawyers Guild is a hugely radical extremist organization. You can find them in most of our law schools today, unfortunately.
Really? There's a National Lawyers Guild involved with the law schools? That's weird.
Get involved in matters like this.
Grand Tifa.
Cases to promote this agenda and defend fools like this. I dealt with them when I was in law school, as a matter of fact.
Did you? Did you deal with actually becoming a lawyer, or no, just writing these books? Okay.
So for those of you who
need a 3D version of the book that you can create a graphic out
copies of American Marxism,
dude, this is just an ad for the goddamn book. No, I'm not going to finish the rest of the ad. We dealt with your storyline about playing Project Veritas' stuff to sell your book. Yes, the National Lawyers Guild, apparently. Good Lord, man. All right. That's Mark Levine again. We don't need to jump to that. This dude, okay, so we're talking about conspiracy theories today, obviously, that are behind the scenes. And the right is really in a bind. They really are. They're having a difficult time right now because, on the one hand, they need you to believe that someone else is pulling the strings. Biden doesn't know what's going on. He's completely lost. He can't finish a sentence. It's not a stammer. It's mental decay. He has trouble putting on his pants, even though wasn't it the former guy who put his pants on backwards? We'll get to that later. But Biden is a decrepit old man who, is constantly smelling burnt toast and almonds, right? But he's also a criminal mastermind who's intentionally destroying America and the world through his intentionally bad decisions where he's undermining the United States so he can turn us into a communist dictatorship, which would kind of need some sort of a keen intellect. So these ideas kind of butt heads a little bit. But this guy, Sam Faddis, he's former CIA intelligence officer, editor, and magazine. He's both an editor and a magazine. Biden is deliberately facilitating the rise of China. He's doing this on purpose. This is not an accident. He's a doddering super genius. Even as confused as he is, he can still outthink Donald Trump. I don't understand. I'm very confused.
We're going to pack it all in somehow. I want to go to Sam Faddis now. Sam was
speaking of packing it in,
on the ground expertise, and he knows the hook.
He does have an expertise in sitting right near his window, where light is shining through his window and creating this really weird line across his forehead. But he does have something here that I think it's a black light that's making his beard glow. Is it just me, or does it look like his beard is glowing?
Network. He knows exactly what's happening. Amazing piece.
He doesn't know exactly what's happening with his window because he, in the middle of doing this interview, didn't think that the sun would be where it is, and now is going to have to move his head to not get blinded. Murph, it's okay, buddy. Cat is making.
Sam and magazine, that only somebody like yourself is both a practitioner and has the understanding of geopolitics, the consequences of defeat.
Hi, Murph. I know, they're ridiculous. Really? What's happening? No. Yeah? Murph came in. He had something to say. Murph, what is it, buddy? You guys want to see him? Should I go get him real quick? Hold on. Oh, it's the kittens here. I see. Can you bring him over here so we can see Murph? He's panicking. We're fostering another kitten, and it just arrived.
Well, no, I have to go pick him up.
Oh, you're going to go pick him up? So you went to get the bag. Hi, Murph. I know, buddy. Are you okay? What's the matter? Hi, buddy.
It's like another one.
Yeah, it's okay. You know what it means when she's getting the carrier? Yeah, she's going to go get another kitten, and she's going to bring him here. Yes, he is. Why? Here you go. Hold on. Calm yourself. You're okay, buddy. You're going to be all right. It's just a kitten. He's only here for a couple days. He just needs somebody to foster him till he gets the rest of his shots, right?
Yes.
Yeah, he gets the rest of his shots on the 14th. He's a what? Oh, he's 1 or 2 weeks old? Aw. Oh, I see. I'm sorry, I have the headphones in. I'm doing a show.
He should be ready in 1 or 2 weeks.
I agree. He should be ready in 1 or 2 weeks. Murph, it's okay, buddy. I know you're okay. I know. You want to get down? She's going to go take the case. You want to go see bye? Okay. He'll be back. He's miserable. Murph, it's okay, buddy. You're going to be all right, Murph. Murphy. It's like, I saw it. She left with the cat carrier. She's going to bring somebody back. Son of a... Miserable. He's a great cat. Hal sneezing in 543. No, he doesn't make me sneeze. That was from something else. I don't know what that was. It was just tickle nose when I sneezed earlier. Is that Forster Brooks? Yes, that's Foster Brooks. It totally does look like him. That's hilarious. But again, look how the light from this asshole's window is right between his eyes. Like, understand that while this guy's going to give you his strategic viewpoint on stuff. Think about this. Factor this in. Steve Bannon has brought this guy on because of his strategic mind. And this dickhead sat down to do this interview in front of his computer with the window to the back going, I'll get some window light on me and that'll do it. And then he had to pull the drapes, and now there's a crack in the drapes hitting him right in the forehead.
That Americans don't like to embrace, Sam, defeat. But you kind of lay it out, and you
Look
talk.
at him. He's trying to dodge it. Yeah, Sam, they don't like to, these folks don't like to admit defeat. Play some murder mystery music. He does look like a villain character on Matlock.
Consequences.
Yes, Murph saw the cat carrier. He hates the cat carrier because it always brings back a kitten. Welcome back, Beth.
Of course, the photo you've got in your piece, if we can put that up, is the.
You won't be able to see it. The sun is shining directly into his eyes, Steve. I'm never going to get over this. This is just fucking dumb.
And there, with the Chinese foreign minister. I want to say, as we're doing this, the lead story in the Daily Mail just came down, but the lead story all afternoon was the Secretary of State of the United States going over and getting red carpet treatment to thank, doing a fist bump, and to thank the Qatari government, who are the worst in the Gulf, which you got a lot of bad actors. These are the worst of the worst. The
Qatari government are the worst of the worst. Hold on. Mm-hmm. U.S. President Donald Trump meets with the Emir of Qatar, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, in the Oval Office. In the White House, April 10th. They're both doing the, and if you'll notice, they're both doing the Illuminati hand symbol to show that they're both on the team with the Satan worshipers. Well, I mean, that hand position was evil when Obama did it. But as soon as Trump gets in, it's just, your hands rest. So far, the effects of U.S. President Donald Trump's unpredictability in the Middle East have been relatively contained, but that may be changing. His administration's recent flip-flop on Qatar, which is in the middle of a face-off with the United States' main Arab allies, has increased the chances of conflict in the Middle East. What flip-flop, you're asking? Well, let's go to the New York to foreign policy. President Trump's flip-flop on Qatar may be due to U.S. airbase. President Trump reversed course on his handling of Qatar, an about-face that may have been influenced by the presence of U.S. troops in the country. Trump spoke with Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. That's just rude. Sheikh Al Thani. Can we just do that of Qatar Wednesday as opposed to all the other emirs? Jesus. No pun intended. Offering to play a peacemaker in the role in the Middle East, according to read out of the call released by the White House press. Oh, yeah, the private call. The president emphasized the importance of all countries in the region working together to prevent financing of terrorist organizations, stop the promotion of extremist ideology, the White House wrote. One day earlier, Trump publicly endorsed Bahrain, Egypt, Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, and Yemen, cutting diplomatic relations with Qatar, alleging that it funds terrorism. The move to close its borders to suspend air and sea travel to Qatar aims to punish the tiny nation by isolating it economically and politically. But Qatar is also home to the Al Udeid, yeah, airbase, which hosts more than 10,000 American servicemen. Airbase is the main regional center for air missions against ISIS. Area is meeting with, of course, some Qatari individuals on Halloween as part of his satanic ritual. So they're the worst. So Trump, when was this? When did he reverse course? He reversed course. This is, at least it wasn't early on in his presidency, say around June 8th, 2017. You would think he had 3 years with Qatar and was like, all right, maybe I've learned to like you guys after all this. Friggin' June 8th, he flip-flops on Qatar. Runs on, we got the Qatar, horrifying. Cozying up to Iran, terrible people, awful, violent, not as a June 8th, the year he becomes president. Actually, Qatar's got some good points. there and remain that way for the rest of his presidency. But please, Steve Bannon, go ahead and tell us how the Qatari government is the worst.
Double dealers in the world, Muslim Brotherhood, Hamas, Hezbollah, it's all there, right?
It's all there. It's all there. So, obviously, Trump knew this. The United States has leverage needed to prevent Qatar from cozying up to Iran and the Muslim Brotherhood if it's willing to use it. Well, apparently not, because when was this? August 15th, 2018. Even a whole year. A year of this. And then they ended up meeting together. They brought him over. And obviously did a little photo op with the head guy from Qatar, the emir. That's it, But the worst. Cozying up. The worst. We've got a base over there. We sent the Secretary of State. It's not shaking hands with them. They're just touching fists, right? Like the back of their hand, because they're not shaking. No pun intended to the sheikh who's actually there. He's got to feel left out of it. Hey guys, can I fist you too? Anyways, so there's a big difference between Blinken going over there, meeting with them, State Department, we've got a base there, and Trump giving them an Oval Office meeting. But hey, at least, it took him a few years to realize the strategic value of it. And he didn't just reverse course in the first year of his presidency and continue to believe that through the rest of his presidency. But yeah, anyways. So we got 10,000 troops there and a bunch of refugees in Qatar, and yeah.
Sam Faddis, first off, Tony Blinken kowtowing to Qatar.
Well, he's not actually, he's kowtowing to Qatar. I mean, they are, we do have a military base there. They do allow us to stay there, and we use it to vet a lot of the Afghans that are going to come here rather than bring them directly to the United States. Let's see, Trump to... I just want it for, when you're talking about kowtowing, are we talking about kind of like this kind of behavior, like that? Like how much are we calling this? Define kowtowing? The little curtsy afterwards. This part, is that kind of, because obviously Blinken's not doing that. So there's a different, this little, Blinken didn't do a sword dance with him, did he? With Wilbur Ross and Rex Tillerson dancing with the sword in the middle. He didn't do that. He just went over there, had a meeting with him where we have a base, and didn't shake hands with him. Just did a fist bump, back of his hand. Obviously not. Define kowtowing as you see it. It would be the question. Let's see. Let's try to, or maybe the Globe situation where they had a. Let's get this. They're going to run an ad on it. I just know it. By the way, I'm enjoying Only Murders in the Building, although because Steve created it, it's pretty miserable right out of the gate. There's a lot of emotional misery that he's weaving in there because Steve wants you to know he has a broken heart. Poor guy. We love him. We love you, Steve. Yeah, there we go. His business. There you go. Just, what was that? Sorry, run that by me again. There's my thing. Thank you. It's nice. Give me that thing. I can't read. Can you read it to me? What does that say? It says, we own you. Just put your palm right here. Do we still want a president who bows to the Saudis and lets OPEC rip us off? Make America strong. Vote for Mitt Romney. There we go. Canley makes me want to puke. Cheers. Oh, there's Roger Stone not liking it. That's adorable. All right. So, anyways, kowtowing, they're the worst. There you go.
About their quote unquote help in this situation. What are your thoughts on that, sir?
Well, it's not quote unquote. They actually are there's no air quotes to it. They actually are helping. We do have a base there. We're using it to vet a lot of the Afghans that may or may not be coming here, going to other countries before we go there. They are helping.
Yeah, well, it's disgusting, but it's par for the course for this group, right? I mean, we are no longer a leading power.
Jesus Christ, man. Don't talk to me about your strategic know-how when you don't even know how to sit in your fucking living room without the sun blasting you right on the bridge of your nose. Like, the sun is literally in his eyes. He's literally just like, fuck, how do I dodge this thing during this interview? This asshole wants us to think he is a strategic mastermind and knows all the inner workings of stuff. Asshole can't sit across from a window.
World, we're going around doing business with the Taliban, fist bumping with the Qataris, turning Afghanistan over to China. What we're watching is us destroying American prestige and power all over the globe.
Yes, it was so prestigious to get bogged down for 20 years in Afghanistan. There's such a prestige. I mean, it's really, it's sort of a red carpet to spend $140 to $300 million a fucking day for 20 years on a country that you have no intention to take over. But sorry, I don't know if I'm making sense right now that I'm being blasted in the eyes with light from a giant orb, millions and millions and millions and millions of miles away that it didn't occur to me shines through that window at this time every day till I was.
So Sam, the Biden in this group he has with him of General Austin, and you got Blinken and Jake Sullivan is so the American.
Yeah. Do any of them have a watch or a hand mirror? And do they sit across from your house, shining a light into your forehead to try and irritate you? You ever had anybody do that to you, where they're just like looking at their watch and the light just bounces right off, and you're like, "Ah, you dick." Has that ever happened to you? No.
We're not allowed to do due diligence. Was this something that
we're not allowed to do due diligence? Trump met with the head of the Taliban after getting him out of jail. Do you think he did due diligence on this asshole before he got him out of a Pakistani jail? Did Trump do his due diligence on the 5,000 Taliban guys that he got let out of jail? 5,000. 5,000.
plan to do? Is this just because they're so hapless? I mean, put it in the strategic context. How did we act?
Yeah, like strategically, let's say you're on one side of an argument, and on the other side of the argument is the fucking sun. I can't. I'm sorry. This is so stupid. Tell us, give us the contrasting viewpoint. By contrast, I mean high contrast. It's just light bouncing off his Coke mirror. His kids are fucking with him off screen. Kids, get out of here. It's not us. It's the dog's tag.
They get here. We understand they're totally incompetent about imposing their will on anything and getting stuff done.
Yeah, but at least they know lighting. Secondly, you got one dude who's sitting across from a fucking window going blind as he talks randomly about other people's strategic ability, talking to a dude who never bathes, whose his whole studio is in front of an unused fireplace.
But what was the strategic rationale of what they have done to get us into this situation where the CCP is the rising nation right now?
The CCP is not the rising nation right now. First of all, the Chinese Communist Party is not the nation of China, and China is not on the rise right now. China is in deep shit. And by the way, Steve Bannon knows this. China is do we want to go through just the weather in China right now? Or do we want to go through, let's see, like how the world views them because of both the Uyghur camps, Hong Kong crackdowns, their financial stuff. They're shutting down. China just had to shut down like 1,500 K-pop fan accounts because they were causing political turmoil in the country. A country of allegedly 1.2 billion people has to shut down 1,500 K-pop accounts because they might upend the goddamn government.
Well, look, I think you've asked the critical question, right? When we were listening to Sean Parnell, who, by the way, I fully support. We're talking a lot
Well, you have to, otherwise he'll give you a sunburn on your left eyeball.
about incompetence. Maybe that's what you're seeing. Maybe that's not what you're seeing at all, because frankly, it makes a whole lot more sense if you look at everything that is going on and you understand who's doing it.
Jesus Christ, this dude is having a hard time forming thoughts. As somebody who deals with technical stuff on my show all the time that I'm fixing while talking or interviewing or, you know, doing radio and the like, I know what it's like when you're vamping while you're dealing with some other aspect. Usually with me, it's audio or some sort of persnickety video thing before we solved that issue. This asshole is just trying to figure out how to talk without saying, you know what, Steve, give me 1 second. I need to go shut this goddamn window.
That this is all deliberate and it's intended to facilitate the rise of China.
Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to hand off Afghanistan to China so that they can really come into their own.
Joe Biden himself has taken huge quantities of money via his son Hunter from the communist Chinese. Everybody.
Well, no, they invested it on their behalf. That's what Rosemont Seneca did. They didn't keep it. And what they did keep was 10% of any profits made, like any other investment scheme. By the way, are all American movie studios now suspect? Is every manufacturing group in the world now suspect because they were in league with the Communist Party?
Please. Cabinet basically was bought and paid for by the Chinese a long time ago. They have not just destroyed our prestige in Afghanistan. They have.
Yes, but all of our prestige in Afghanistan is gone. Guys, we lost our prestige in Afghanistan. That's what I was worried about. I know you were worried about it. Our prestige is gone in Afghanistan.
It over to the Chinese. The Chinese embassy is open. There are Chinese technicians working with the Taliban to hunt down opponents of the regime.
Good luck with that. By the way, what are you reading from right now? You checking an article? What do you think? New York Post, Wall Street Journal, Washington Post, New York Times? Or are you just trying to look anywhere but the light shining directly in your face?
Chinese are talking to the Taliban about taking over Bagram Air Base.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Chinese are talking to the Taliban about lithium deposits in Afghanistan, which maybe seems not particularly relevant, except Joe Biden has decreed that 50% of the vehicles in the United States by, I think it's 2030, will be electric. And with current technology, that means they will run on lithium batteries.
Bullshit. We're not going to use current technology in 2030. Nobody thinks that. Everybody's looking for an alternative to lithium. And like MIT, Tesla, everybody's steering away from lithium-based lithium-ion batteries. Like, for Christ's sake. That's why we don't care. If we needed that lithium, you're goddamn right that we'd have some sort of like base down in the south of there going ours. No, we don't need it. Nobody does. Except for the Chinese who are using this backwards technology.
Lithium. Most of it comes from South America right now, and the Chinese already control those mines largely. And now we've turned over.
Okay, let's just remember, let me back up. What did he just say? What did this dude just say?
In batteries. We don't produce lithium. Most of it comes from South America right now, and the Chinese already control those mines largely. And
the Chinese largely, control those mines largely. Let's see. See, made investments in oil and gas project. There we go. Okay, that's here we go. China is expanding its presence in Latin America's energy and strategic minerals industries. That's basically what he's talking about. This is February 10th, 2021. China is broadening its presence in Latin America's energy and strategic mineral sectors, posing challenges to the regional countries themselves, as well as the United States, according to a new white paper published by the Institute of the Americas, IOA, an independent, nonpartisan organization based in La Jolla, California, that focuses on inter-American affairs. In recent years, the Asian superpower has sharply increased its takeovers of major products in electric power transmission and distribution, renewable energy, and lithium, even as its other investments in the energy sector have declined. For example, in 2020, Chinese M&A deals in Latin American energy sector surged. Did you bring him? Is he back? You're going now? Okay. Latin American energy sector surged, reaching 7.7 billion, or a quarter of all Chinese acquisitions worldwide. The study said between 2000 and 2019, China made investments and loans of more than 58 billion in regional energy sectors, with most going to oil and natural gas projects, followed by renewable energy. They're phasing out the other stuff and going into there. There you go. A new IOA report. China stakes its claim in Latin American energy, what it means for the region, the U.S., and Beijing. Let's see if we can find, because I was looking up China, Russia's, here you go. Here's the Diplomat. This is 2019. Russia's to dominate the global supply of lithium. Beijing's race to control supplies of lithium used in powering electric cars is leaving its rivals far behind. China is increasingly dominating the supply of what's been described as white petroleum, the soft, silvery metal lithium, seen as a key to momentum-gathering electric vehicle revolution. Discoveries of lithium in North America and Europe may loosen China's tightening hold on the market in time, but the race to find and exploit new deposits is also throwing up other concerns. We've got tons of lithium. Canada has a shit ton of lithium. It's everywhere. Lithium is one of the main components of rechargeable lithium-ion batteries used in smartphones, laptops, EVs, with demands for all, which, I mean, they were manufacturing it, so they need a shit ton of it. China, eager to reduce oil imports and address chronic air pollution, is driving production of EVs, accounting for 37% of passenger EVs sold globally since 2011. Beijing's government subsidies and quotas for EV sales appear to have incentivized efforts to corner the electric vehicle supply chain. Reuters reports that Chinese entities now control nearly half of global lithium production and 60% of the electric battery production by capacity. Battery production capacity. It's the production of them, not necessarily the sales or design. By 2030, Goldman Sachs predicts China could supply 60% of the world's EVs. This is 2019. This is no longer the case. In 2019, this was true. In 2021, nope. But, I mean, let's listen to this strategic billionaire.
We've turned over what could be the largest lithium deposits on the planet to the Chinese.
The largest lithium deposits on the planet could also be in British Columbia. Should we invade Canada? Don't answer that, chat room. Simmer.
So as we're being ordered to buy vehicles that will be completely dependent on lithium batteries, we just handed the Chinese a complete stranglehold on that technology, so they can shut down our economy anytime they want. I mean, we could go on.
Well, except for this. Except for this. April 30th, 2021. What you need to know about solid-state batteries. This next jump in battery tech could solve a lot of EV problems. The world of internal combustion engine may sadly but very necessarily come to a close at some point in our lifetimes. Hybrids and electric vehicles are becoming more affordable and more advanced at a rapid pace, which means batteries are taking the place of fossil fuels, which has led to an equally rapid progression in battery technology with the main goals of improving capacity, charging times, and safety. One major advancement in the field is the advent of solid-state batteries, which promise to push the boundaries of limitations that current lithium-ion batteries carry. What are lithium-ion batteries? This is electric vehicles. This is how they work. There you go. Just like how solid-state batteries are different. Solid-state batteries, as the name suggests, do away with heavy liquid electrolyte that lives inside lithium-ion batteries. The replacement is a solid electrolyte, which can come in the form of glass, ceramics, or other materials. The overall structure of a solid-state battery is quite similar to that of traditional lithium-ion batteries otherwise, but without the need for a liquid. The batteries can be much denser and compact. Without diving too deeply into their inner workings, solid-state batteries expend energy and recharge much in the same way traditional lithium-ion units do. Solid-state batteries aren't a new thing, but their use in such a heavy-duty application such as automobiles is. They've been in use for years in small devices like pacemakers, wearables, and RFID. This is how they're going to chip us all. By 2030, this will be the dominant technology. This is where we're headed. There will be a transition from, lithium-ion batteries to lithium-guided solid state to solid state. Yes, lithium-ion batteries catch on fire. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to abandon that technology. And there's plenty of lithium in the world. Plenty. This is idiotic. But, again, if we needed it, we'd have stayed. So stupid.
Wrong with this list. Frankly, it makes a lot more sense if you contemplate this is not just incompetence, it's being done deliberately.
Yes, he's not a doddering old fool. He's doing this on purpose. It's almost like he's letting the Chinese move into Afghanistan and go searching for an element that we have plenty of, and we're not going to fight over, for a technology we're not going to use in 10 years anyways, and let them dick around in the fucking sand with the Afghans for a decade. And
you spent a lot of years or a lot of time in that neighborhood. Pakistan, the Pashtuns. Are we in a situation right now we've allowed the CCP to unite Pakistan, the terrorist superstate of Afghanistan, Iran and the mullahs, Russia, and
they're going to hook them up with the Uyghurs, Steve. That's the whole plan. China has this, they're playing fifth level chess. They figured it out. They want to partner up in business with Taliban, ISIS-K, Al-Qaeda, Iran, the Pashtuns in Pakistan, and their partners in the Uyghur Muslims that they have been putting in concentration camps. And it's well known everywhere that that's what they've been doing. And and you got to understand, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, they're very forgiving when it comes to scooping up entire groups of Muslims and putting them in concentration re-education camps. They're, especially when you kill 250,000 of them over time for sedition and trying to overturn the government because they've been in contact with ISIS and Al-Qaeda and groups like that, and I'm sure it'll be fine. Yeah, I'm sure the Uyghur Muslims don't know anybody in that region, and no one in that region knows of what the Chinese have been doing with the Uyghur Muslims. They don't even read the same newspapers. You know what I'm saying?
Turkey for Erdogan for good measure. I've been calling this for years now. The consolidation on the Eurasian landmass. Has Joe Biden exacerbated that?
Yeah. He's going to consolidate the Uyghurs, the Pashtuns, the 12 tribes in Afghanistan, the Eastern Iranian nomadic tribes and ISIS and fix them together so that the Chinese can work with one cohesive group. Shit.
Yeah, well, look, the Taliban announced, I think earlier today, that they're finally forming a government, right? And make it.
Yeah, it's going to be awesome. That the Taliban government is going to be tight. Look out, Iran. There's a new kid in town.
Look online and look at the list of people who will be attending. That is the nations that will be attending this ceremony. It's
yeah, it doesn't look at all like ticks gathering around a cut.
It's the Chinese, it's the Iranians, it's the Russians. It's everybody that you just ticked off. Those are all the nations that will be standing in Kabul and that are now the new allies of the Taliban. So
good luck with that. Yeah, have fun. Yeah, we were the allies of the Taliban last year. Trump worked that out. the nation of Talibania. Yeah, it's the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan is what they're calling it, because they want to be like the UAE. They're trying to be. They picked a name that makes them sound like they're on the same level as the Saudis. I'm sure it'll work out, guys. I'm sure, unlike before, Afghanistan will be a stable and united group of tribes that will manage a real bridge between Iran and Pakistan and Uzbekistan and China. And I mean, come on.
People think, at worst, we're going back to where we were 20 years ago. That's not at all true. What we have now is infinitely worse than where we were 20 years ago. A much more powerful Taliban in lockstep with, linked up with nations that are all hostile to the United States. This is a disaster, a true geopolitical disaster.
Yeah. And understand that if anybody understands strategery, it's the dude who doesn't know to move his chair and his computer a foot to the right. It didn't occur to you to maybe this asshole wants to think that he's the guy you call on to talk about geopolitical strategy, and he can't even solve a problem he can use by scooching his chair. Fucking hell. Yeah, the Taliban are allies with nobody. They're not even allies amongst themselves.
Sure, if there has ever been in American history a moment like this, where there has been a foreign policy, national security disaster of this magnitude.
Oh, you mean working? You wouldn't count making a deal with the Chinese for trade during a pandemic that you believe is caused by them, and ultimately trading, only finishing one deal of a 3-phase deal and only getting a third of the money that was in that first deal in exchange for 600,000 dead Americans. That didn't come up as part of that it wouldn't occur to you as some sort of theoretically speaking. No. Psst, scooch.
Also, can you give us your assessment of the Qataris? They are known that the location was at Doha is known as a open market for Muslim Brotherhood, Hamas, Hezbollah.
Yeah, terrible. I mean, I don't know why, anybody would not recognize that, Steve Bannon, especially if they were hanging around with you for years. Why would that be, Steve Bannon? Why would this be something that? How would it? Steve, can you guys do me a favor? Is it too much to ask? I don't want to get bored. I'm a very bright fellow. You're gonna have to try harder. We have a base with 10,000 soldiers on it in Qatar. That ship has sailed. Qatari 2600 asteroids was great, but Pac-Man not so much. I agree. Absolutely.
They're the paymasters. This is how the money gets transferred and laundered through. Is that correct, sir?
Yeah, the Qataris are not honest brokers in this. They're
That's weird. They're not. Yeah. So we should run our people out of there immediately, move them someplace else.
I mean, there's a reason why the Saudis and all of the other Gulf states hate them and ostracize them, and quite frankly, wish they would just go away. By the way,
you mean because we have a base there? That wouldn't be one of the reasons. It sure as shit was one of the reasons why the Osama crowd didn't like us very much.
Just throw this into the mix. Right before we went on air, was talking to a conduit to sources in Afghanistan.
A conduit to sources in Afghanistan. So you're playing pinball or a game of telephone with somebody in Afghanistan who knows somebody, who's got a guy on the inside who's always talking to a fellow that's part of a group that has these friends who are next door to, right.
They say that the sources that I'm talking to via that avenue in Afghanistan say we're looking at a minimum of 500 Americans potentially as many as 1,000 American citizens still trapped in the country. So the Biden.
Yeah, they're not trapped. They had an opportunity to leave. They didn't leave. A lot of them are dual citizens. We're also getting them out through other ways. But point them out, man. Why don't you send like more? Why don't more Republican Congress people fly over to Afghanistan and go? They're right there in that building. We could get them out right now. They're on the 3rd floor in the 2nd apartment. If you just go straight up the stairs, I mean the apartment's got really cheeseball locks. I mean you could just knock them, kick the door in, bonk them on the head, shoot everybody. No one would even know. So we got to go in there immediately. Where are they again? They're in that building, 3rd floor. Yeah, it's a father and 2 kids and his wife. And then they've got a brother who's staying on the couch with them. It's basically, I mean, they're all in the apartment. They're there right now. Like, if you wanted to, you could just go in there and kill them. I don't know why the Biden administration isn't announcing to the world precisely where they are, how many of them there are, and what route they're taking out of the city.
Administration's figure of 100 is not surprisingly a complete fabrication. It's a lie.
I don't know that they said 100. Did they? Is that new?
Practitioners of.
Or are they just talking about one building? By the way, let's see. How many Americans still in Afghanistan? I'm checking in with one of my conduits. How many American and allies? Let's see. Yeah, so Biden, August 31st. Now we believe there are about 100 to 200 Americans remain in Afghanistan with some intention to leave. Most of those who remain are dual citizens, longtime residents who had earlier decided to stay because of their family roots in Afghanistan. These aren't people who are trapped. And this is what he's referencing. Hold on one second. This is Axios reporting on White House. About 100 Americans still in Afghanistan. About 100 Americans are still in Afghanistan following the August 31st full troop withdrawal from the country. White House Chief of Staff Ron Klain said on CNN State of the Union on Sundays. What he's saying, we're hopeful that in the coming days, the Qataris will be able to resume air service out of Kabul. If they do, we're obviously going to look and see if Americans can be part of those flights. We're going to find ways to get them out of Afghanistan, he added. Klain said the U.S. officials were in close communication with contacts in Afghanistan to try and safely evacuate special immigrant visa holders and other Afghan allies, following reports that many of these people had been left behind following U.S. airlift from Kabul. I know some are coming out by land. We're continuing to work on efforts to get them out by air as well. We're going to continue to move those SIVs out of the country. Klain said the U.S. had, quote, launched a historic airlift that brought 124,000 people out of Afghanistan, including U.S. and Afghan citizens. We're ultimately going to resettle them in Europe and the United States, and that's a big part of rescuing that SIV population. But, this is the old Trump method. If they say it's 100, go, it's probably 1,000. It's probably more than that. It's probably 10 times what I said they said it was.
Political persuasion, because I know in the agency and other people you've dealt with have a broad range of political beliefs. But the same question I asked Sean Parnell. The community, as you know them, and a lot of those guys are active over there now trying to get...
Did this asshole just shuffle to make his eyes more in the light? Did you just see that? I was like, I was about to say that, the sun's kind of going down, and so he's going to be able to avoid it. It'll hit him on the cheeks or whatever. And then he just kind of settled into it. Maybe he likes it.
People that work with
See
them.
what I mean?
What's the
I take it back. He just tried to dodge it again.
assessment of how this has been handled, and particularly the veracity now?
Yes, dinner theater Sean Connery is talking to old used bar of soap found in shower of burned out building.
Biden administration.
Rage, white hot rage, way past disbelief, way past disgust.
Yeah, he's so mad his eyes are glowing. That isn't even the sun.
Just fury.
That's one of his friends. They're so mad.
I mean, we're talking about an administration, whether this is grotesque negligence or whether it's treason. We're talking about an administration that has mishandled something in a way no administration on earth ever did. I mean, look.
Well, and for the record, to mishandle something, you actually do have to handle it. And so, like the last guy who was in office, he had every opportunity to handle it. And because he was he realized everyone would look at how it was handled and say it was mishandled because everybody would second guess it. He just avoided handling it at all. So it's easy to leave it up to somebody else and go white hot rage because somebody finally did something about it.
Thomas Jefferson.
Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, give a thumbs up, watch the show, blah, blah, blah. Hi.
1903, when the Barbary pirates were seizing our citizens, and we hardly had a Navy and a Marine Corps, and we had barely survived the revolution. When they started demanding tribute and holding our citizens hostage, Thomas Jefferson sent the United States Marine.
Thomas, if you're not familiar, Thomas Jefferson was a Native American leader. He pronounced it slightly differently, but Thomas Jefferson, very well known. And wore his hair exactly like I wear mine, right? But lower. His ponytail was down here.
The Navy to explain to them at the point of a sword, we don't deal with terrorists and we don't abandon.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now look, we're the
I mean, who deals with terrorists? You know what I mean? Like how do you even? It's just terrible. Can you imagine if Trump had made a deal with the Taliban? You know what I mean? Like, holy smokes! Like, let's see. I mean, who even bothers to do this? Who deals with terrorists like the Taliban? Now, I mean, that's just gross negligence. That's traitorous.
Superpower on earth, and look what we're doing now.
Oh, thank you for becoming a Patreon supporter. Thank you very much. And thanks, Robert, for the super chat, by the way. And thanks to Girls Rock Player and Kelly and Artsy Lynn for the bits as well. Thank you so much. And Girls Rock Player, thank you for gifting the subs. That's really awesome. And Moms, thank you so much for both the super chats. And bless you for your ongoing Venmos when you do them. I appreciate that. If I've ever missed one, I apologize not bringing it up. Thank you.
I mean, basically Jefferson and Adams, those guys told them, hey, we'll pay millions or billions, whatever the number is in the modern dollars for defense. We will not pay 1 cent for tribute, not 1 cent for tribute. That's the United States. We will not pay 1 cent for.
Well, how about, will we negotiate the release of 5,000 enemy combatants in exchange for them not shooting us as we leave?
And look where we are today. By the way, you put treason on the table.
Where are we today? Oh, we're staring into the sun.
Back to you later in the week and talk about that in the run-up to 9/11. And I want everybody to understand, Sam Faddis wrote a book years ago, I think, Decline and Fall of the CIA, very perceptive book. Sam Faddis spent many years of his life.
Yes, years ago, he knew he would be sitting in a space where he would be nearly blinded during one interview with Steve Bannon.
In the defense of his country. And I'm going to get Jay Kansar in a second.
Sorry, unlike every other CIA agent and officer, fuck you.
This is so far worse than 20 years ago. It's not to be imagined. Of all.
Yeah, I don't know that they're going to be able to fly any of these helicopters into buildings that don't exist anymore, or if you've just forgotten what 9/11 was like. But please, I mean, this is, and by the way, understand this is the reaction to us getting out of Afghanistan. This is not their reaction to Biden handling it. This is not their reaction to Biden mishandling it. This is the giving up the base, Bagram Air Force Base, not staying forever is the crime here. Not the fact that we lost 13 soldiers that were blown up when a suicide bomber attacked the airport, not the decision to use the local airport versus take everybody on a car ride of death out to Bagram, but the fact that we didn't keep Bagram there as a secret base forever, repelling Taliban and ISIS-K and having soldiers die in 107-degree heat in the middle of the night forever. Because that's what they're complaining about. Don't for a second think this is about the how and the arrangement and, whether or not it was a qualified drawdown or any of that shit. Neither of these assholes think we should leave. I should have ever left. Now, they pretended to when Trump said he was going to, but only because they knew he wasn't.
convergence of everything we've allowed to happen, all the elites of both parties and Wall Street in the city of.
So by elites, you're definitely not talking about Trump, right? The dude with a fucking Elvis sense of like gold toiletry and 3 trophy wives in, daughter fondler, couldn't think his way out of a wet paper bag. He doesn't qualify as an elite.
Then in the
Wharton went to Wharton.
Davos and the social media oligarchs. What has happened and what's happened?
Yes, these social media oligarchs. By the way, in case you're wondering, when a lot of them say big tech giants or woke big tech, blah blah blah, they're complaining about content. What Steve Bannon is complaining about with the big tech oligarchs is the idea that they control the purse strings, and he can't make money on YouTube, which he used to make a shit ton of money over there. And so they're now oligarchs because they're magically getting that money that he's not getting. Not, those of us that put out quality programming on YouTube now. There.
On the Eurasian landmass in that part of the world is 100 times worse than on September 10th of 2011. 100 times worse.
Well, I mean, Osama bin Laden is dead. And they are fighting amongst themselves. And they're actually accepting some of the women into governmental and teaching positions because they want some of that sweet, sweet international aid money.
Started the Third World War. Mark my words. The Third World War started. Okay? The economic piece, the cyber piece, the kinetic piece is coming at you, and it's going to come up there in the Kashmir province and around in India to the west flank, and the east is going to be the South China Sea in the Taiwan. By the way, General Motors announced on Friday shutting down all production in the United States. Why? No chips. Sam Faddis, and Magazine. Sam, what's your social media? People got to start following you nonstop.
Yeah, there's a supply chain bottleneck because of COVID. There's been a chip shortage everywhere. Germany's shutting down car manufacturing as well.
Social media handles.
At Sam Faddis. Look, I'm on Twitter until they throw me off. I'm on Getter, Parler, Gab. We're everywhere. Go to.
Yeah, nobody cares, dude. Sorry, Sam. I mean, if I want, a lesson in poorly refracted light, then maybe we'll talk.
Magazine.com, and that'll link you to every place.
Okay, we got to put Ann Magazine.
Is it shitmagazine.com? All right, just clarify.
As we always do, it's fabulous.
Isn't that's your fetish site, right? Look at him closing his eyes like fucking sunlight, son of a bitch.
And thank you very much.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Pack it all in somehow. Want to go to Sam?
By the way, let's jump over real quick since I was, run a little late. Where is this? That's me. That's this. Hold on. No, there it is. New York Times wrote a thing called the Biden Doctrine about actually getting us out of Afghanistan and what his, Biden's process is for deciding whether or not we should stay in. And they think it's a propaganda piece. They think this is deep state.
Welcome back. The New York Times taking some heat for praising President Biden's foreign policy despite what is happening in Afghanistan.
Where are they taking heat from? Oh, from Fox News. That's new. Let me guess. Trump called them fake news and got mad.
Analysis states, quote, in the chaotic finale of America's 20-year war in Afghanistan, a Biden doctrine is emerging, a foreign policy that avoids the aggressive tactics of forever wars and nation building while uniting allies against the authoritarianism of rising powers.
Yeah, which is why Fox has a problem with that, because it is their entire network's job to prop up authoritarian powers. So I can understand why they would be a little irritated.
React, Fox News contributor Joe Concha. Joe, great to see you as always. Look, our allies, many Democrats, a lot of mainstream media have even been very critical of the Biden administration's actions in Afghanistan. Why?
Yeah, but largely based on the idea that there was another there, or there was a version of this reality that didn't involve a kind of messy withdrawal, a fantasy, which is part of what kept us in Afghanistan for another decade. Nobody wanted to get out because getting out would look like shit, and nobody wanted to look like shit.
The New York Times decided to break from the pack and essentially print a White House press release.
Yeah, Todd, the key line in there is while uniting allies against authoritarian powers. You think the byline, the person who wrote the story, would show that Jen Psaki wrote this in terms of propaganda and not Peter Baker.
That's adorable. By the way, Fox News is calling people who describe what they believe is the doctrine of the Biden administration and their idea about how they're handling them, what they've expressed, what their priorities are. They're interpreting. They want to be the first ones to define what the Biden doctrine is. And they're calling them, the New York Times, a rubber stamp for the White House. Meanwhile, on Fox News, with zero irony, which is basically where Trump comes to fart and the rest of them sit as close to his ass as possible to try and take notes.
Of straight reporting. And look, our biggest partner in Afghanistan, right, the Brits, they certainly were not happy with the way the Biden-Harris administration...
The way we actually left? Oh, you mean Boris Johnson?
...handled this. Their parliament literally held President Biden in contempt. The incoming German chancellor said it was the worst policy decision in terms of foreign policy decision ever witnessed.
Ever? You mean getting out of Afghanistan? Hey, you can stay. I mean, we had 2,500 soldiers and about 800 contractors and embassy staff. We had another 3,000 or so of them in country. I mean, the UK could replace those people. Germany could do it all by themselves. Germany, you absolutely have the material support and the personnel to go in there and run all these bases, support the government, keep an embassy open, knock yourself the fuck out. What's the difference between 2,500 Americans and 2,500 Brits or 2,500 Germans? Get your ass in there. I don't see, there was no one, Boris Johnson or the incoming new chancellor of Germany suggesting that they would take over on our behalf as we were leaving.
For Peter Baker, who actually wrote this piece, and the Times to attempt to frame this exactly the way the White House would want by outright lying, and I'll say the word lying, under the guise of straight news reporting is as shameful as it is shameful.
How are they lying? They didn't say everybody would like it, but that's the goal. How are they lying?
Joe, there's been certainly a lot of criticism about how this withdrawal was taking place.
Or that it happened at all, because that seems to be the issue, don't you think?
And what ended up happening the last few weeks, rightfully so. But do you think...
Oh, you mean what happened in the last few weeks? Oh, we got out of Afghanistan.
He's going to look back on this and say that this was the right move? Or do you think...
Sorry. I'd say the Japanese deciding to attack the U.S. Navy in 1941 is a bigger foreign policy disaster. I agree. I mean, obviously, having a war in winter in Russia on Germany's part, kind of a political blunder in terms of war.
History is going to still be critical of how this was put into play.
Nope. I mean, you want it to be, but it's not going to be. Sorry. In a couple of years, nobody's going to give a fuck. They're going to go, at least we're not in Afghanistan anymore. No one's going to care. No one. They have already... even the right wing, even the most right wing, as much as they would love to Benghazi this bullshit, they have added the deaths of our soldiers who were helping the evacuation right in with the number of people killed in Afghanistan, shoring the place up. Americans, both contractors and military service personnel who've been killed in Afghanistan. They're all in one bubble together. They are not bifurcating it out at all. So at no point will anybody look back and go, these people who died are different than these people who died, or better or worse than those people who died. Because that's what you have to do. If they died, you have to tell their relatives that they died. It was a waste. We shouldn't have gotten out, and they were killed for nothing. They were killed by a traitor trying to destroy the country, and that you should hate your government because they tried to end our long engagement that took 64 lives during the Trump administration, and they just didn't care about those guys. I mean, those men and women... Who cares, right? Nobody's, honest to God, no one.
it's all about the execution, right? Many people agree that we should have gone out of Afghanistan at this point, that we've been there for 20 years, and that's...
You mean like Trump and everyone around him and everybody who voted for him? Yeah, they all said we should get out, but Trump kept punting it his entire presidency.
Point we had to leave. It was the execution that a lot of people
that didn't do, the execution that Trump didn't follow through on, that Trump continued to punt, and even said, and I aired this on my show. We looked at this interview that he did on Danny Balls' show, where he said May 1st, that wasn't even a solid date. That was the beginning of what would be a 2-year drawdown. Now, who believes that Trump, if he'd have won re-election, would have lost the midterms and become a lame duck for 2 years by getting us out of Afghanistan and experience this kind of thing? Or would he have waited till right after the midterms when he knew he couldn't be reelected to get us out then? Or would Republicans would have talked him into staying even further? What you'll be the kingmaker, but if you get us out now, it's going to look like shit. We'll promise to get everybody out afterwards.
An overwhelming number of Americans have a problem with if you look at poll after poll after poll. And again, 3 things needed to be done. And it's not Monday morning.
Okay, good. 3 things. What needed to be done? 3 things needed to be done, folks. What
quarterbacking, in this case, Tuesday morning quarterbacking. But Bagram Air Base should have been used for the evacuations instead of...
Because you're a fucking moron. Because here's a great idea. Let's take all the staff from the embassy, their families and everyone around them, and everybody in the city, instead of taking them a quarter mile to the airport where we have 6 gates and we can split the thing up into civilian and military flights, let's all pack everybody in vehicles, drive them an hour and 20 minutes out into the desert on a 2-lane road that can be attacked from anywhere through territory that was being held by the Taliban and ISIS. They were fighting over it, to a base with 1 entrance, and try to do an evacuation now. Like the strategic, like this is so dumb. I half expect the fat ass, the dude who's going blind on Steve Bannon's show, to have come up with it. You're a moron. Anybody who said we should have evacuated out of Bagram is a fucking idiot. Thousands of people in vehicles down a 2-lane highway in the middle of the desert in Afghanistan through territory that the Taliban was fighting with ISIS over? Are you fucking delusional?
That's obvious. No,
it isn't. It's obvious that you strategically are a moron. I don't know. Look, they keep pushing this. Christ almighty, this is dumb. Hey, the house is on fire. We should go out the door that's right there. No. We need to climb up on the roof as the fire rises and jump off the roof. We'll make it that way, because the fire is all around us on this floor. I know the door's right there. But if we go up 3 flights of stairs, a helicopter can pick us up. Jesus Christ.
Done during the winter.
Bo the Fifth said the same thing. Is that Bo of the Fifth column? I know of him. I don't watch the stuff, but he seems like a decent fellow, yeah? But, I mean, it's so obvious. I've shown everybody the map. Like, I've shown everybody, it's a quarter of a mile from the U.S. Embassy and the buildings around it where everybody lived to the goddamn airport.
The Taliban is back at their bases in Pakistan, obviously, and get all Americans out before you start pulling military.
Sorry, what? The Taliban is back where? So fly everybody out of Bagram all they have to do is blow up 1 road and stop the entire evacuation. Because as bad as the explosion as the airport was, imagine if they'd have done that on the only road to Bagram. The rest of it's just desert, full of mines and IEDs and all kinds of bullshit. We'll just have the trucks drive around. Boom, there's another one. Are you fucking dumb? But what was he saying? Hold on.
Air Base should have been used for the evacuations instead of Kabul. That's obvious.
No, that's moronic.
The evacuation should have been done during the winter when the Taliban is back at their bases in Pakistan.
You mean when ISIS had a bigger control over the north? Obviously. Is that why Trump set the date in May? Oh, right. But you'd need to have time to get the SIV folks out. Oh, that's right. You and the other assholes on this show don't give a rat fuck about the SIVs.
And get all Americans out before you start pulling military out. Just three very...
The last person out was military. We sent in 6,000 extra troops to organize the exit. They were. We pulled back everybody who was at the bases we were no longer using. Why would you leave soldiers in bases that were basically they would have to engage in a firefight with feuding groups to hold on to instead of just getting them the fuck out of there?
Basic things that a military analyst, and I'm certain
how you would like Bo the fifth column. I will check his stuff out, Bonnie.
One needed to be done, and but instead, what happened here is what we're seeing: Americans left behind, and obviously those 13 service members of the U.S. military died in the process.
Yeah, because nobody would have been blown up or killed on a 2-lane highway through the fucking desert in the middle of an evacuation of 124,000 people. How stupid are these people? Seriously, is no one there going, no one at Fox News can go, ahem, even for the illusion of fair and balanced, somebody go, well, you do realize you're wanting to evacuate 124,000 people instead of a quarter mile down a few blocks to the airport. You wanted to take them on a 2-lane road out in the middle of the fucking desert for days on end. Through an area, by the way, that you're saying the Taliban wouldn't control, so ISIS would actually be ascendant in those areas because they're mortal enemies of the Taliban. They would be fighting each other instead of us.
At Kabul International Airport. So that's the problem that people have, and people will look back on this.
No. That's not a problem that people have. That's a problem that stupid people have. People who don't give a rat's ass about actual human lives in this circumstance, who are just trying to score political points and will follow Trump's asshole everywhere that it floats in front of them, like a magic eye of Sauron.
As a stain on the Biden presidency, and perhaps even as a point in the Biden presidency in terms of...
You wish, fuck you, never happened.
Is he competent enough to do the job? And that's why...
Yes, because I guarantee that as befuddled and confused and old and doddering and demented as Biden is, he would never be fucking stupid enough to suggest that in an advancing war zone, you take 124,000 people down a 2-lane highway in the desert towards a base with one fucking door. Holy shit. I mean, I'm still amazed every time one of these idiots floats this nonsense. Because there's only one way that ends up. More dead civilians, more dead military. Lots of them. Lots of dead civilians. Lots of dead Americans. Lots of dead military. It's a bottleneck. The one thing about having multiple gates at the Kabul airport was that when the bomb went off, they still had other ways they could bring people in. As a matter of fact, as I showed a couple of days ago, they actually had a secret entrance to the airport that the Taliban were helping Americans get to around the areas where ISIS had attacked. And they left. It worked. Our people got out. I'm amazed at the idiocy here. Why does Fox think that anyone would take them strategically seriously in any of this? Because I have not heard a single person on Fox News anywhere suggest anything but we should have left through Bagram, which is the dumbest fucking idea.
Poll numbers have fallen as precipitously as they have, Jillian.
Let's switch gears here. Rachel Maddow and other members of the liberal media slam for taking the bait on a false story about ivermectin doses. Here is the original.
Media outlets report on false ivermectin story. Okay, so he's this. Let's hope that his medical knowledge is as high quality as his strategic defense policy advice.
Headline: Patients overdosing on ivermectin, backing up rural Oklahoma hospitals and ambulances. This article was then debunked. And nevertheless, we have these articles.
Dr. Michalea said patients are packing his eastern and southeastern Oklahoma for taking ivermectin doses made for a full-size horse. September 1st. Okay.
From the liberal media echo chamber, starting, of course, with Rolling Stone. That's the one making the most headlines. But let's not forget about the New York Daily News.
The doctor says Oklahoma having influx of patients overdosing on ivermectin. Oklahoma ERs. Okay, backing up people overdosing on ivermectin. Gunshot victims have to wait to be treated.
Business Insider, all echoing the same things, but not to be.
I don't know this story, and I don't know that they were baited into something. We do know that people are being that they're missing. They don't have hospital beds for people who've been wounded or have other medical issues because of COVID. This looks like the beginning of a conflation of two things that turned into a singular concept.
Done. Here is Rachel Maddow tweeting out the article in question.
Patients overdosing on ivermectin backing up rural local hospital. The scariest one I've heard is seeing people coming in with vision loss, he said. Okay.
I'm guessing there won't be any consequences for this rush to judgment and this rush to publish. Will there be?
Yeah, why hasn't, Todd, Rachel Maddow taken down her tweet? Many are asking this because she reaches millions.
Are they? Many of them are asking this? Are people asking? Okay, hold on one second. Let's do a little follow-up. When was this? This is September 7th. This is relatively ivermectin, Oklahoma. Fact checking the mystery. Okay. This is CNN. Okay, here you go. This is fact checking the misinformation about Oklahoma hospitals and ivermectin. A story went viral last week about Oklahoma hospitals and ivermectin, antiparasitic drug some Americans are taking to treat COVID-19. It was a poor piece of journalism, inadequate in its reporting, inaccurate in its depiction of what's happening in Oklahoma. A story which was first published by a local news outlet basically suggested that overdoses among people taking ivermectin to fight COVID-19 were a primary factor in filling up hospitals in the state. There's no evidence of this, and the story didn't even demonstrate that its one and only named source had claimed it was true. But the flawed story was widely shared anyways, aggregated by big media outlets, amplified on social media by liberals eager to demonstrate the right-wingers have gone off the deep end, and that wasn't the end of the mess. Also based on insufficient evidence, some conservatives soon basically jumped on the conclusion that the doctor was a liar who made the whole thing up. That, too, was not the truth. 1. Local news outlet hyped the doctor's quotes, didn't provide context. What did I say? It's that and COVID cases are bouncing people out, and what they did was they blew up we knew there was a bunch of COVID cases. So what's the tipping point? We got 10 beds, 8 from COVID. We know it's spreading like wildfire. 2 beds with ivermectin assholes. Ivermectin is not contagious. Therefore, these 2 assholes are responsible for anybody who didn't get those 2 beds. That's the conflation I'm talking about. And again, okay. That's my judgment before even gathering what this is, knowing what I know about media. Local news, okay. Ivermectin was traditionally used for antiparasitic in humans. It was grown in popularity as COVID-19 treatment this year, in part because the right-wing media outlets promoted that purpose. The government health authorities have warned that taking ivermectin caused severe harm, explosive diarrhea, for one. The controversy over the Oklahoma story began with an article published last Wednesday by KFOR. That article quoted just one person, Dr. Jason Aliyah, an emergency room physician who works with different hospitals in southern and eastern Oklahoma. The article strongly suggested that he had claimed that the use of ivermectin was a primary cause, maybe the single primary cause of hospital congestion in Oklahoma. Other than ivermectin use, the story did not cite a single additional reason why the hospitals could be crowded. Well, the obvious reason is because they've got a shit ton of COVID there, and people know this. And then on top of that, they got 2 more beds that might be for more COVID people or a bus accident or whatever the fuck, and some asshole is taking ivermectin. But there's no evidence, even the additional interview footage KFR released after the controversy erupted, that McClay himself pinned so much blame on the ivermectin use. He didn't. Okay. It's still hard to figure out exactly what happened in the interview. It edited out the reporter's questions, showing us only the doctor's answers. But McClay seemed to be saying that ivermectin use was one factor contributing to the hospital backlog, not single-handedly or even primarily causing the backlog. Even if McClay did claim that ivermectin was the main factor, that would not be sufficient evidence that it was true. The article failed to quote anybody else who could have provided context. By contrast, an article published the same day quoted multiple people focused on COVID-19 itself as the cause of hospital congestion. That's the fucking point. We know there's a rush of Delta. We know they're overwhelming hospitals. And on top of that, we're running out of beds, and then we get 2-3 people who come in because they've been sucking back horse paste and shitting themselves bloody in their pickup truck. They're taking the ICU bed. That's on top of the COVID illness already. That's what's, I mean, this is so fucking obvious. Yes, if you're in a bed because of and you took ivermectin, and someone comes in with a fucking gunshot wound or heart palpitations or something like that, and you're in that bed, and we already know COVID is in a rush, you are the additional reason why there aren't beds. You are the reason why that second, third, and fourth bed, the final ones that are available, are gone. It's horse paste. That's the picture. Look at it. Hold on. I'll show you the shit in a second. By contrast, article published by Oklahoma quoted multiple people who focus on COVID-19. There it is. Also quoted in the Tulsa World article. There, too, he told a story about being unable for hours to find space in big city hospitals for a gunshot victim he was trying. But this article did not attribute the scarcity of appropriate beds to ivermectin. In fact, the article did not mention ivermectin at all. Aggregators didn't verify. Liberal tweeters jumped. Some conservative tweeters also jumped to conclusions. Issued a statement he hadn't worked there in 2 months. The hospital hadn't seen any patients, complications, ivermectin. Was in some corners of the right, the statement was taken as a definitive evidence that the doctor was a liar. Some of Clea's critics even left terrible reviews for him on medical websites. But again, it was not clear he had actually said anything untrue, let alone that he actually deliberately lied. Another hospital where he works said in a statement, what we can confirm is that we have seen a handful of ivermectin patients in our emergency rooms. And while our hospitals are not filled with people who've taken ivermectin, such patients are adding to the congestion already caused by COVID-19 and other emergencies. If you are in the hospital because you took ivermectin meant for horses, you are the reason someone can't get a bed. Fuck you. End of story. That's why her article is still up. That's why the tweets aren't being taken down. That's right. Send them to a veterinarian.
Of followers, yet still it's up there. And probably the reason that she's not taking it down because she knows she can mislead and push unhinged claims without any reprimand from most of her peers and from the powers that be inside her own network. No one.
The powers that be inside her own network? Oh, wait, you mean like at Fox, where everyone has to have proof of vaccination or they can't enter the building, but they every night do shows that are anti-vaccine passport? Like that kind of powers that be inside an organization?
Pushed Russia collusion harder than Rachel Maddow. She's the Adam Schiff.
She was right about it.
Cable news host. And what happened after that was all.
Oh, so she has integrity and can read.
Bunked. She didn't apologize, and NBC just awarded Rachel with a boatload of cash and a new contract because
somebody's jealous. Look at the picture they're going to cut to.
It's about click.
Look at the picture. Fuck you, dude. Cha-ching. Good for you, Rachel. I remember filling in on Air America when Al Franken had left to go run for office and couldn't be on the radio anymore. And I did American Afternoons or whatever their midday story was. And she was on right after me for 3 hours. And she would be there in the morning. She would do 2 hours of prep for every hour she was on the air. It was amazing. And I could, and quite frankly, she bogarted the copy machine a lot. I was trying to print some stuff and make some copies, and she was using the whole goddamn floor. You know that picture they always show of Rachel Maddow on like the ads on MSNBC, where she's got paper laid out in like a semicircle around her, like she's she's looking for the Zodiac killer. That's how she really works. That's how she does it. That's not fabricated at all. That's how she actually lays out her, for her own brain to kind of process what she's doing. She's a genius, and she's taller than me, and I still beat her at basketball. Just saying. I also once gave her advice on how to deal with media attacks on her show, because I'm that kind of a guy.
In ratings, not facts and honesty. And the fact that Twitter is allowing her tweet to stay up, it's clearly misinformation, shows you.
It's not, but keep looking to the side.
Absolute bias by that social media engine, but we already kind of knew that already, right?
Fox News, what does Joe Concha contribute about? just kind of catch-all, Joe? Just kind of rambly? Because I thought maybe, I don't know your work. It seems fabulous. But I don't know why I would know anything about what he contributes. But apparently his strategic mind, I thought initially, he was brought on as somebody like a former defense contractor or one of these folks that would talk about military stuff. But then we now know that after he expressed what his 3-part plan for solving the Afghanistan evacuation issues would have just gotten tens of thousands of people killed and bungled it beyond measure. So it's no surprise that his critique of this is equally as stupid. By the way, let's see. Let's see. Should we just look up Oklahoma horse paste? Here you go, Joe. Debunk this, motherfucker. Do not take medicine for animals. Oklahoma stores sold out of horse deworming drug despite FDA warning about consumption. This is Oklahoma News 4. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration is warning people not to take horse deworming medication to treat COVID-19. Turns out the medicine ivermectin is flying off the store shelves in Oklahoma despite the warning. Once the damage is done in these situations, you're not going back, Dr. Mary Clark with the Oklahoma State Medical Association said. It's damage that could lead to long-term health problems. I mean, I don't even know why this article is still up. The FDA said, please, this is not something that is recommended, said Dr. Clark. And the manufacturer of the actual medicine said, we have no evidence of effectiveness. Clark said the drug, which has not been studied in humans, treats or prevents parasites in animals. However, Clark said there are 2 versions of ivermectin. There's a human grade, but that's for parasite infections, for scabies, you crusty college dorm bastard. 20 years ago was the last time I've used ivermectin on a human. KFOR contacted 12 Tractor Supply stores around Oklahoma, and they all said ivermectin was sold out. Ivermectin is gone within hours of shipment. I mean, we even have "please don't eat" signs up. Last place I worked at had a sign over the urinal that said, "Do not eat the big white mint." We haven't received a shipment in 2 weeks, said a supply store. I think it's because people are consuming it. There's too much potential for error if a person goes and takes veterinary product intended for large animals. And that's by the way, it's apple flavored for horses. You are not a horse. You are not a cow. Stop it. Why don't you tell us how you really feel? Shit. Hold on. That's beautiful. Get up here, will you? Hold on. Here we go. You are not a horse. You are not a cow. Stop it. Joe Rogan has a strange desire to run the Kentucky Derby. I think he wants to go to a rodeo and get ridden. I think is more what it's. She's making money and you're not. No one is surprised. You're not a horse. You're not a cow. Stop it. Oklahomans using livestock dewormer to prevent COVID-19. There's not, by the way they're trying to debunk this story that's why the hospitals are clogged up. Never mind the fact that they can't even try to debunk the fact that Oklahomans are sucking back apple-flavored horse paste instead of getting vaccinated because they trust veterinarians. They don't trust doctors. Hold on. Ivermectin, MAGA diarrhea. Let's see if this is. Well, there you go. Daily Mail. This is in Oklahoma, but it'll do. There you go. COVID patient is hospitalized after overdosing on unproven drugs amid warnings about self-treatment with online coronavirus cures. COVID patient attempted to self-treat with an array of substances. Westmead doctor said patient had nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea. Ivermectin is not authorized as a COVID treatment in Australia. WHO cautions against COVID use, but it is used as a treatment in some countries for scabies. If you're disgusting, you know, if you've got a pie plate sized, there were people on let's see, there's Twitter. Let's get this. There you go. Demand surges for deworming drug for COVID, despite scant evidence it works. That's what they're doing. And by the way, this is what Alex Jones took as well. Nobel Prize winning for humans. Nobel Prize winning. No, which is not. Ivermectin didn't win a Nobel Prize. The key ingredient in it that's used for other stuff. There's also, and maybe this is, I don't know if anybody's seen this. How about avermectins? There you go. Avermectins are a group of drugs that occur naturally as a product of fermenting Streptomyces avermytilus and acetomycetes and actinomycetes. I'm gonna need a week. Isolated from the soil. This stuff, the fermenting of this thing was the process. All the vermectin stuff. It's used as a pesticide for the treatment of pests and parasitic worms. Yeah, these people are eating pesticides. The isolation and fermenting of it was what won the Nobel Prize. Avermectin derivatives. Pharmacokinetics, therapeutic and toxic dosage, mechanism of action, and their biological effects. Avermectins are a group of drugs that occurs naturally as a product of fermenting Streptomyces avermytilus and acetomycetes isolated from the soil. 8 different structures, including ivermectin, abamectin, mamma mia, doramectin, which is, you know, an exploramectin that you can take, a prinomectin or a prinomectin, moxidectin, which, you know, is a lot. It's got more gumption than the other dectins, and selamectin. Were isolated and divided into 4 major components: A1A, A2A, B1A, B2A, and 4 minor components: A1B, A2B, B1B, and B2B. Avermectins are generally used as a pesticide for the treatment of pests and parasitic worms as a result of their anthelmintic and insecticidal properties. Additionally, they possess anti-cancer, anti-diabetic, antiviral, antifungal, and also used for treatment of several metabolic disorders. Avermectin generally works for preventing the transmission of electrical impulse in the muscle and nerves of invertebrates by amplifying the glutamate effects of the invertebrate-specific gated chloride channel. Avermectin has unwanted effects or reactions, especially when administered indiscriminately, which include respiratory failure, hypotension, and coma. The current review examines the mechanism of actions, biosynthesis, safety, pharmacokinetics, biological toxicity, and activities. Introduction, history, structural chemical properties, avermectin biosynthesis, avermectin derivative formulation, therapeutic, myelodexin, how they're all used. There's if you want to make some, if you've got some stuff, the dosing. Commonly used therapy in recent times has been an oral, parenteral, topical, or spot topical, as in veterinary flea repellent drops. Basically, these people are like gnawing on cat collars. They show activity against a broad range of nematodes and arthropod parasites in domestic animals at doses of 300 or less than 200. The humans get 30 or 40, by the way. That's how it breaks it all up. Let's see, human uses of ivermectin. The origin of ivermectin use in treatment of human diseases started in 1985 in an effort by the United Nations to tackle the challenges posed by tropical diseases, which have been endemic in various areas of Africa. Some of those diseases treated with ivermectin, including onchocerciasis, caused by filarial nematode. Who doesn't have that? Onchocerca volvulus. Presently, ivermectin is used to treat strongyloidiasis, scabies, paradoculosis, anathematosis, and a bunch of other things. In addition, other studies have shown that ivermectin can be used to reduce the prevalence of spread of other infectious diseases linked to the hemolytic parasites transmitted through soil, such as strongyloidiasis, ascariasis, trichuriasis, and enteruriasis hookworm. Tricurious and bicurious, it can cure bicuriousness in people. Or tricuriousness, which is if you just feel like you're just curious about trying anything. Which I don't recommend, especially when people have tropical diseases. Tough actin, tenactin, right? Topical administration of ivermectin to children also reduced the prevalence of head lice and scabies. Moreover, ivermectin has been shown to be effective in the treatment of rosacea, a human skin disease characterized by transient pustules and facial erythema in order to enhance this because there's stuff living in it. It's been administered with other drugs, for example, is combined with doxycycline to inhibit onchocerciasis transmission in humans. Other studies show it's combined with doxycycline has been shown to improve efficacy for ivermectin in suppressing microphiloderma, which has been shown to reduce symbiotic endobacteria for filariae Molbachia SPP that is important for the reproduction and survival of mature female worms. Moreover, another study studied the daily administration. Where did it go? Another study stated the daily administration of ivermectin antibiotic combination for 6 weeks is more effective in reducing the microphiloderma levels in infectious patients than with ivermectin alone. The antiparasitic activity of ivermectin in the treatment of psoriasis. Okay, this is all like skin diseases. Efficacy against plant parasitic nematodes. Antibacterial action. And dextrose for malaria, anti-cancer. So there you go. Another non-prescription discovery for ivermectin is its anti-cancer drugs. The ability of ivermectin to stimulate the intracellular influx of chloride ion in cells from leukemia patient and the induction of oxidative stress leading to the death of the leukemia cells without any effect on normal cells. Anti-cancer effect of ivermectin against leukemia is also tested in mice using 3 different models, all of which is associated with a self-active signaling pathway. The pathway, let's see if they have a dosage. Potency of ivermectin as an anti-cancer is a glioma xenograft is also observed by inhibiting dead Vox RNA helicase DDX23, which I'm sure all these people would be fine with being injected with. This is the type of helicase is linked to MIR21 processing of microRNA associated with glioma. This shows that the ivermectin can play a dual role in the preventing of tumor growth and metastasis. Thank you. Ivermectin can also inhibit the depolymerization of microtubules, preventing mitosis in tumor cells as well as increasing metabolic effect of IVM, anti-alcohol therapies, anti-humor effects on ivermectins. I'm not going to take that because I don't want to lose my sense of humor. Antiviral effects. There's you go. The role of IVM in inhibiting RNA helicase has led to research of potential of AVM in the treatment of viral-related diseases. IVM is reported to inhibit the replication of most flavivirus. That's what flavivirus through blocking viral helicase. Some of the diseases caused by viruses include dengue, yellow fever, tick-borne encephalitis, and West Nile virus. This led to the submission of a patent application for IVM as off-label for antiviral therapy in humans. A study showed that consistent passaging of IVM for 6 months did not induce resistance to yellow fever virus, suggesting that the helicase domain may not be able to undergo mutation. In addition, the report revealed that IVM had no activity against other types of virus, though it inhibits replication of HIV-1 and dengue virus at high concentrations of IVM in an in vitro experiment. So if you don't mind it killing you first, nuclear import of viral proteins is critical to the life cycle of many viruses, including many RNA viruses that replicate exclusively to the cytoplasm, such as DANV. Okay, so this is where they get all this shit from, by the way. Here it is, ivermectin and COVID. With the global pandemic caused by severe acute respiratory syndrome, coronavirus, SARS-CoV-2, there's an urgency for science to discover a potential drug to be investigated for the treatment of COVID-19. Cali et al. Earlier reported potential of IVM to inhibit the replication of SARS-CoV-2 in an in vitro experiment, much like the dengue stuff, but at high doses, didn't work. Once you lower it, such findings were obtained by incubating 219 of IBM with Vero H-SLAM cells infected with it. Extrapolating this dose onto human models shows that this dose well exceeds the tolerable dose for humans approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. However, Guzzo et al. Showed that administration of 120 milligrams of IVM to healthy humans was safe and well tolerated by volunteers. Didn't help with the disease, though. So you take it, doesn't change the outcome of your disease. The results showed peak plasma concentrations at 250, which is just a bit lower than the effective concentration of IBM that inhibits replication of SARS-CoV-2. So basically, you would have to take more than your body could take, and it would kill you before it killed COVID. Yes, yes, I'm saying Alex Jones is wrong. Pharmacokinetics, clinical trials of ivermectins, toxicity and side effects, neurotoxicology of ivermectin. The major toxic effects of IBM observed in animal studies such as rats: ataxia, sluggishness, ptosis, while in dogs, hypersalivation, ataxia, blindness, coma, respiratory compromise, tremors, mydriasis, anorexia, and death. Jesus. It's also noted that young rats are sensitive to IBM as high concentrations are found in the brain due to tender BBB and lack of P glycoprotein. Most dogs sensitive. Okay, dogs. What about people? Mice strain. I don't know that they've done any. With or without studies conducted far showing the abruzinols of PGP conclude the effect of abruzinols IBM using IBM labeled with fluorescent compound. They found that the efflux of the other drugs is reduced by this substrate binds of PB. Oh, we got a kitten. We have a new little buddy. I was just telling everybody not to take ivermectin because it's for animals. Oh, is he handleable?
Oh, yes. He's got a little bit of a dirty butt, and he's super skinny.
Hi, buddy.
So we gotta weigh him.
Hi, buddy.
He's
We gotta.
old. He's only 2 pounds.
Hi, buddy.
So
Look at this little guy. Look at this little fella. Hi, buddy. Yeah. Look at this little one. You're such a good little guy. Hello. He's going to be visiting with us for a little while while he gains some weight.
Yeah, that's how skinny he is.
Yeah, he's a little skinny guy. He needs to hold on to the. Oh, he's purring already. Look at this little guy. He's purring like a little baby. Look at this little buddy. Hi, buddy. Hello. Yeah.
A lot of noises and things, huh?
Yeah. There's a lot going on here.
He's
That's
hungry,
right.
too. He hasn't had
Huh?
He hasn't had dinner yet. So.
He hasn't eaten? Hello.
We just walked in the door.
There you go, buddy. Hi. Do you want to get down? Hello.
Let's go to your room.
Yeah.
Get you fed.
Hi. Look at this little friendly fella. Hi, little friendly little guy.
Chip.
What's his name?
Chip.
Chip. Chocolate chip.
Mint chip.
I mean, he's mint chip. I think he's chocolate chip
I know.
because he's
We'll call
white
him
with
Chip.
chocolate chips. Hello.
It'll be Chip.
Hi, buddy. Yeah. What a sweetie. He's a little pervert. He's purring. That sounds weird. Look at this. Hi.
He's got his black nose.
I know. Super cute. Yeah. He's being fostered. We're going to foster this little fella.
Fatten him up.
Fatten him up and get him some shots.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. There you go. Can you go back to Mama real quick?
Let's go in here.
Uh-huh.
Murphy's introduction.
Yeah.
There
Okay. There you go. Hi, buddy. Yeah.
Get your
There you go. Get your butt in there. Watch your tail. Watch your tail, little one. You'll get to run around. Don't worry. You just get your tail in there. Don't squish it. There you go. Aw. Oh, look at the little guy. How many cats? We have 4. We're not having a 5th. You're not sticking around, Chip. We're going to make you healthy and send you someplace nice. He's super cute. Matches my hair, yeah. All right. So, anyways, we were looking at what kind of an idiot you'd have to be to take ivermectin. I would guess the you'd have to be kind of the Joe Rogan, Alex Jones version, which is I'll take some of this shit. It's not going to help, but I'll get political points for taking some horse dewormer so that my people think I'm doing, everything they accuse people who are getting vaccinated of doing. Thanks, Steph. Let's see. Joe Rogan. COVID. Mm-hmm. Let's see if this is. Joe's COVID. Here we go. This is his.
The Joe Rogan experience.
Well. If it isn't old horseworm Rogan. I'm glad you're well, man.
Bro, do I have to sue CNN?
I don't know. Do you?
They're making shit up. They keep saying I'm taking horse dewormer. I literally got it from a doctor.
Yeah, he took ivermectin. They didn't say you're taking horse dewormer. You're taking the same drug they use to deworm horses. It's totally different.
American company.
Mm-hmm.
They won the Nobel Prize in 2015 for use of human beings.
Yeah.
And CNN is saying I'm taking horse dewormer.
Yeah. What? So
they must know that that's a lie.
There's a lot of people saying it.
Right, but a lot of people can say it.
Okay.
Like the internet says it. Who cares?
Sure.
But CNN is saying it. Like
He's lost some weight. I will say that.
Tim Acosta.
I meant like USA Today, a few other
Yeah,
and they're talking about ivermectin, right?
Yeah.
So what? Because I don't know. I just saw so much news about you.
He took the same stuff that Alex Jones took as well, by the way. In case you guys missed it, let's see. Alex Jones, ivermectin. He doesn't want to be outdone by, yeah. This is what he's talking about.
Overhead shot, please. You know what this is? This is ivermectin for humans. It won a Nobel Prize as an antiviral.
Hi, dum-dum. No, it didn't. The ivermectin discovery won the Nobel Prize. Look at that, 3 milligrams. That's not going to do shit to COVID. Nothing. And the reason he feels great, both of them, is because they're taking steroids.
Is it inhalable, or these are the tablet steroids? So let me show you. I was going to do this anyways earlier.
I have never seen someone so nervous right after blowing Joe Rogan in my life. Not since, oh gosh, not. Let's see, when I'd have to go back to that weird wine party in Austin.
See this? See this, Fauci? You see this, Bill Gates?
Look how nervous he is. He knows he's taking something that scares the shit out of him.
I'm going to kill those prions, you bastard murderers. You're going to hit me with a bioweapon, you monster. You want to suppress me? You want to kill me, you son of a bitch?
Yeah, you're taking a drug out of foil that you have no idea where it came from. If you really believe they were out to murder you, they couldn't swap out a drug in a piece of foil. What are you talking about?
You goddamn demon. You think I'm easy to kill?
Well, no. Well, you are. You don't have to be killed. You just wait long enough, and your heart or your liver will do the work for them.
Roll over to your crap.
I'm gonna sip it with lemon Pellegrino. Or Perrier.
No. Joe Rogan kicked your murdering ass too. You'd love to bury him too, you little monster maggot. He's in this National Geographic piece about, oh, I don't usually deal with my enemies right away. I get them later. Yeah, you creep up on with a poison injection, dressed up in a lab coat, you little Joseph Mengele, Nuremberg Code violating monster.
I mean, you don't think Mengele would have gone? It'd be so much easier if we just got these assholes to take whatever pills we tell them to. I mean, we could just put a story into paper, and these idiots would just take. They would force their doctors to give them things. Even the doctors, we can't get the hardest thing about getting, murdering all these people and lowering the population of the earth is all these doctors and their stupid Hippocratic oath, and they have to, at first do no harm, and this is very difficult. But if we get the people to bypass them and insist that these doctors give them these drugs, they will just take them. This is so much easier. I mean, honestly, like Alex Jones would say, I'm not getting in your train and being taken to a little camp where you can put me in a shower. I'll Uber to the place myself and turn the shower on alone. This is such a silly
monster.
Man.
See our little cancer proteins like that. Nobel Prize winning for humans. Nobel.
Yeah, but not for that. And it won't do anything. All right. It's goofy. All right, here we go. So this is why they haven't taken it down. We looked at that video once before.
Joe, by the way, you can Tuesday morning quarterback after a Monday night game. Just don't try and Wednesday morning quarterback because I got nothing for you then.
Right.
That's supposed to be kind of like funny. Don't forget, Fox and Friends is a morning show, and this is the show that's on before Fox and Friends, I think. Yeah, Fox and Friends first. So they're on earlier than, than Ducey and them. So what a god-awful hour to be doing a show. So what, 4 a.m. New York time?
Tuesday has no feel, right? Wednesday has a feel, but Tuesday, no feel whatsoever.
And Fridays, I'm in love.
At one point 20 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, we just talked about the fact that, according to these assholes, the Taliban terrorists it's worse than 9/11. They're going to be attacking the country or whatever. But there's always, you can always end the segment on an up note, on our golden set. Honestly, I haven't, who designed that? Who did Trump have pee on something to design that set?
Very good. The Cure. Outstanding,
Thanks,
Todd. You showed your age there. Congratulations.
That's what I do.
Good day.
Thanks, Concha.
So a Cure reference. That's what did it. Oh. Hey guys, thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. Thanks for sticking around late. Sorry I started a little bit late because I was going to drive to LA and then I got lambasted by traffic. I got waylaid. That's what I think was, which is less laid than I normally like. But I will see you guys tomorrow at the regular time. And like I said, Thursday's show will be in a variant. How do I know anything about Miller in Brazil? Yes, he's still there. He's being questioned by, for those of you who don't know, Jason Miller is aligned with Bolsonaro, and as is Trump, and Bolsonaro's son is, was at Mike Lindell's cyber Rama in Sioux Falls. And he has, where is it? Yeah, so he went down for the Brazil version of CPAC. Let's see, Metropolis. I don't know if this will be in English. Nope. I got to go back to the Daily Beast version of it. Here we go. So in case you don't know, couldn't happen to a nicer guy. That's Jason Miller. He was a Trump advisor, ran the campaign, did a bunch of stuff. Also, when he found out a stripper was pregnant with his child, he dosed her with the abortion drug. Just gross. Is detained Tuesday in Brasilia International Airport as he prepared to board a private plane back to the U.S. after appearing at Brazil's version of CPAC. According to Brazilian media, officials intercepted Miller by order of Supreme Federal Court Justice Alexandre de Moraes before he could leave the country, and questioned him for allegedly participating in anti-democratic acts while he was there. Matthew Tierman, a 38-year-old Polish-American who sits on the board of a far-right activist group, Project Veritas, whose writing has appeared on Breitbart, was part of Miller's traveling party. He said Miller was being interrogated by anti-Bolsonaristas on Brazil's Supreme Court. In a statement, Miller claimed he and his companions were detained and questioned for 3 hours, but they had nothing to say. Miller is the founder of Getter. I think he's gone, though. I think he got out. Yeah. Our goal of sharing free speech. We were eventually released to fly back to the United States. Our goal of sharing free speech around the world continues. Free speech. Basically, that's a warning. Don't come back to Brazil. That's how they do it. They give you, they give you a good scare, wag their finger at you, and then off you go. Hold on. Let's see. I'm backing up. I was checking something else to see if there's anything else. Let's see. Yeah. By the way, here you go. Fauci said some U.S. hospitals are close to having to make tough choices about patients for ICU beds. Yes, that's right. Death panels are here, everybody. And are they brought to you by the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare? Are they brought to you by socialized medicine? No. They're brought to you by horse paste swallowing assholes and people who believe COVID is a hoax, who are taking up all the beds. So anybody with a bullet wound or who's been in a car crash or has a heart attack or a stroke is going to have to wait because they're taking up all the spots. That's what he's talking about. In certain areas of the country, you're getting so close to having full occupancy, they're going to be in a situation where they're going to have to make some very tough choices. That's what he was talking about. And that's not a surprise. But like I said, end on a little bit of good news. Move COVID variant, not immediate threat in U.S., Fauci says. This is a little older, but it still continues to be true. So, yay, we got the 666 thumbs up. Fantastic. That's the way to go out. By the way, I think if we have to, Steve Bannon wins today's 5 eggs. I think that's the way it has to go. I think of all the people, since he screwed up most, that's the smell of his 5 eggs.
5 eggs in a month.
That's right. So the winner of today's
eat 2 eggs a day
goes to Steve Bannon and the idiots he brings on, and his guest who was blinding himself during the entire show. Not that guy, the other guy, this guy. Yeah, Sam Fatass, who was blinding himself the entire time. I think he officially gets this is the 5 eggs clip for today, because that's amazing. A strategic former CIA intelligence officer that doesn't even know where the sun is during what part of the day. I can see why he's a former CIA officer, because that's how dumb you'd have to be. There you go. That's right. So.
Wow.
Right.
Wow. 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 Wow.
A stroker. 5 eggs.
There you go. So 5 eggs goes to them. I will see you guys tomorrow at the regular time. And tomorrow morning early, I am going to do a morning show. So I will be on at let's say 8:30 my time, if that works for everybody. I'm experimenting on the time. Just to get up and have a morning beverage, cup of coffee, and get my day started as I start the research and the work that I've been doing during my day, and kind of share stuff with you that will occur over the rest of the day and kind of maybe tee us up. Yeah. Sorry if the 5 eggs was very loud. I apologize. That's probably pretty loud. Sorry. That's a little better. Sorry about that. So I will see you guys tomorrow in the morning, and in the afternoon. It's Wednesday, so we'll be hanging out. And then, like I said, Thursday, it may have a regular show-ish, or it will probably end up being either a truncated show in LA, or I will just do a driving show to take you guys down there and enjoy part of the show with me, or live stream from the KISS show or something like that. We'll figure it out. It will be awesome. I can't wait to see you. You guys are fantastic. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. Thank you guys for all the support. Thank you for the new patrons who have joined patreon.com/HalSparks. Thank you for the Venmo, you guys. It's a great way to support the show. Just point your phone at that little thing and it'll show you how to do it. You can, and that goes 100% to the show. There's no, Twitch and YouTube taking their cut or whatever. Also merch available and stuff like that. And I'll get better at selling the show. I'm just not good at it yet. If I'm ever going to get there, I got to get way better at this. And I will see if, I don't know what the raid situation will be like. Yeah, I don't think we have a raid today. Tomorrow, probably, we'll be able to raid somebody on the way out the door. But until then, have a great night. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye-bye. Pet a kitten.